Press start.
Let's start episode 188 of the Current Gen podcast. My name's Tim. I'm here with Derek, Dan, and Jeff. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good
Hey,
movies.
Derek, you've got a very realistic, better than any other games ever looked before car behind you there. That's interesting.
It's the new car I just bought this weekend.
Okay,
Wow.
cool. Looks like you
You
really
sure?
put it through with
30.
paces.
You need to detail. Yeah, it needs detail. Needs some
Yeah,
detail.
that's a Florida man driving right there. That's
I
the
mean,
effect.
to get it at decent price, I had to buy it with the scratches and
Sure,
broken
right.
windows.
Yeah. I get
You
it.
mean at
I
an
get
Xbox price?
it.
Yeah.
Poor pass.
A dead hooker in the back. You know.
It's the poor pass version of buying a car. I get it. I totally get it. Well, we are going to talk Forza Motorsport, of course, which isn't out for most folks unless you spend a whole bunch of extra money until this coming week. But there are some thoughts to be had about that from Derek, especially. I know Kyle's been playing it, but he is out tonight. And I know they're both generally liking it. So we'll get to that, as well as several other, anywhere from small all the way up to pretty large games that have released this past week. So we'll get into that and then a whole bunch of TV show stuff to give some impressions on before we wrap it up with news and all that. So let's just jump right in with, I think, the most notable game release of the week. Unless you're a racing fan, then Motorsport certainly would be your most notable. But
Technically, that's an early access release, doesn't count.
it is early access, yeah. So I think Assassin's Creed Mirage is the most notable for several reasons. One, Ubisoft has been relatively quiet outside of like a few smaller games, and we had the Crew Motorfest, which apparently was better than people anticipated, which is cool.
Yeah.
But they've been pretty quiet. You know, they had the Mario plus Rabbids sequel last fall. And then Just Dance, of course. They put like not a whole lot of like big Ubisoft stuff in a while. And that's probably due to a whole bunch of different issues. But we finally have a new Assassin's Creed. Yes, it's more of a budget version of what we've seen from this franchise in a while. But I think it's been a nice return to form in most people's opinions. In my opinion, as I've spent some time with it, it's kind of nice. It's a nice bridge from Valhalla, kind of that I think it was meant to be a trilogy or like just a three-parter to see how those kind of games go. And then this Assassin's Creed Red, I think is the code name, which they've confirmed, I think is set in kind of that samurai shogunate kind of time period. Yep. So whatever that ends up being, this is a nice little bridge game, I think. I like it. So we'll talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage. Are you guys playing? I think a few of you at least are playing it too, right?
Yeah, I'm a few hours in.
Okay. Jeff, are you playing it?
You know me. 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Give me
A little diddle.
Give me your 20-minute take. What do you think after 20 minutes?
20-minute take. We're going to have a theme song for this segment and everything. TMT, 20-minute take.
If you make it, I will put it in the show. That's amazing.
I'll legit try.
If you make it, I'll put it in the show.
No, I'm legit. I'm like 60 minutes in is the actual number, but 20 minutes is like that's the joke.
It would have been funnier though if you would have been like, no, legitimately, I'm actually 22 minutes in.
22 minutes.
21.37.
Really overdone it.
So clearly this game's really good because I went 2 minutes over.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It speaks to its quality that I went 40 minutes over that. Are
you on PS5 for this one?
I'm on Series X.
Series X. How's it playing for you? What do you think about
that? Because it's Ubisoft Play Anywhere, Ubisoft Plus Play Anywhere. It's only compatible for
You're obsessed
Xbox.
with Phil Spencer.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
love
it is.
Phil Spencer.
Because I love Philly Spence. Gotta get that dude's aura all up in my face. I said aura, guys. It's PG. No, but like Xbox is the only console that has that deal right now where you
With
can
Ubisoft
subscribe to the monthly subscription for I think 18 or 19 a month, and then you get access
to both.
The library. Yeah, it's not the full library that PC grants you, but the PC version or the PC, what do you call it? Interface, UI, I guess, like whatever you want to call it. Application. Yeah, it's awful. So
it's a mess,
glad,
dude.
I'm glad I'm doing it.
It barely loads, and when it does, like it just like it's bad. It's real.
It's so bad. I used to play like Division with my brother on there, and I'm like, I love playing this game with you, but geez, man, this is a horrible UI. Like it's just everything about it's awful, and they haven't changed it since then. That was the first.
That's how I played Valhalla a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a mess playing Valhalla, even though I did like playing on my PC. And then I switched over to PS5. That's one thing I like about Ubisoft is the cross saves work really seamlessly.
That's rad.
And so I just picked up and just played the rest of it on my PS5, which is kind of what I'm doing with this game. I played a couple hours on PC.
Right.
I'm now 2 additional hours on PS5 and much prefer that.
The Series X, I mean, it was kind of annoying actually, because apparently I had already linked my Ubisoft account with Xbox before I did this. And every time I tried to get the subscription through the Xbox marketplace, it was like, oh, you can't do that. Account's already linked. You can't do that. And I was like, dang it. So I had to go to Ubisoft's portal on my PC, unlink it, and then establish the link again. Whatever. Anyway, I got it working, and I do have access to not just this, but like Crew Motorfest. So now I can play obviously the best racer that's come out this year.
Just kidding. Sick burn.
It legitimately like just mirrored everything Forza Horizon.
It looks like Forza, yeah.
They're like, we're not even gonna try to hide it. This is Forza Horizon 6.
Crew Motor Horizon. We can't say Horizon. Guys.
The Crew Motor Horizon.
Best. Fine. So I mean, I didn't even get to the part where it's open yet. Like I'm still at the Brotherhood learning crap. So it's I didn't get to see the full scope of the game like you guys did. I did go check the map to see how big it is, and I'm like, bull crap, this is a small experience. Look at how big that map is. But I understand that Tim, you especially be way further in. Well, not 4 hours. Let's calm down. But you would still have seen the open map. Whereas I was restricted to running away from guards and then going.
Yeah, it's got a pretty classic Assassin's Creed and other open world game opening where it's pretty linear for a little while until they decide, let's drop you in the world. They're going to give you the one main mission to go continue, but technically you can go any direction you want now. And I got to tell you, like, I was pretty impressed, and I still am, with how this game looks in certain moments when you see like the landscape kind of open up and you can see the scenery. I'm just like, man, this is pretty. Like these Assassin's Creed games are always fun to look at. They're really good looking games. But there are also times when I sent you guys a picture of making fun of it. Like there's a good amount of jank as well. Like my character has already probably 5 different times in key moments of gameplay run up the wrong thing, jump to grab a thing when that's not what I wanted to do. Like I've had a lot of those moments.
Oh, so that's not just me. Okay, so I thought it was me being an Assassin's Creed noob in the first hour of the game.
This is like
I'm like, what? That's not the direction I'm running. Clearly,
this is a return. It reminds me of when I played Assassin's Creed 3. I feel like Black Flag and Syndicate and Unity. I think those were much smoother. I don't know what they did differently, or maybe I was better at it. I don't know. But like this feels more like when I played 3, where it's like, man, there's just so many moments that I kind of ruined because I just barely missed the edge of this thing I was supposed to grab, like whatever. So there's those little moments, but man, overall, it's a really pretty game. I think it suffers from some of the same kind of facial believability that Starfield can sometimes, where
I see that already.
Some textures in the faces and their expressions look really good, but then when they really zoom in, there's like a deadness in their eyes and kind of like there's just something there that's not quite right.
Well, they kill a lot of people. They're assassinating every day, so they're just dead on the inside.
They're dead on the inside.
It just feels like an old game. Like I know that's the whole point of what they're doing, but I feel like as I'm playing it, I'm over 3 hours in. I'm going, all right, I like it, but I also don't like it. Like this reminds me like if I was to boot up an older Assassin's Creed game and like
100%.
Like I'm a big fan of Assassin's Creed games. So like if I tried to go back and play some of the older ones, which I have done before, like when they dropped the Ezio collection and I started it and I was like, nope. I forgot how much games got better. So this is definitely a modern version of it, but it's still janky. It's still old. Some of the missions, I'm like, did you guys even try? Like, did you even try? This feels like this would be acceptable, like in Assassin's Creed 2 and stuff like that, where it's like, go do this and blah, blah, blah. Like
1000% agree, man.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool
and the dialogue's
stuff
in that bucket too, by the way, Derek, where it's kind of like, oh, you guys just kind of you kind of just got the script going and just rolled. Like I think this is a lot of B team because I think A team and most of the team is working on the next Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, this probably is B team.
This
I would
feels
think.
more like a little bit less QA is being done on certain aspects of it. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I'm just understanding more why people are giving it, those kind of like above average to good scores as opposed to.
It feels like a 7 to me. Like, again, not far enough in to say this is what it's going to be. It might get worse. It might get better. But it just, like, almost immediately, I was like, yep, I can feel the 7.
Yeah.
I also felt like it started a little
slow. Coming off the screen.
Like, I was just like, okay,
it feels like an idea of, like, that. So what's his name again? The main guy there?
Basim.
Because he obviously is important in some way, shape, or form to the previous one. Valhalla. So it just seemed like it's like, okay, well, this guy is from this time frame and he has this history with what we're creating in Valhalla. So it would be fun to create a spin-off game, but like clearly they didn't put in all the money and effort and time that they really probably should have to make sure it's just exactly right.
A lot of it I feel like was lifted right out of small chunks of Origins, like everything from like the sand, the way it looks when you're riding a camel, or the palm trees. There's sections of it that I'm like, even little villages, I'm like, was that an exact little thing from Origins? Like, honestly, it feels like some of it was just plopped in.
They literally copy and paste.
Which is not a bad thing.
They did copy and paste the cat animation from Valhalla? Like, it's the exact same animation. Yeah,
I do.
I saw it side by side. Yeah,
I think they.
But this is how you're able to make a cheaper game with a smaller team and continue to work on your big stuff. So
and I definitely
that's why
think that's why we
$70.
got a cheaper price, because I think
so
they
too.
were trying to garner more interest by saying, well, it's cheaper because it's a smaller title. I also think it's just
I think their budget was smaller.
I think they also knew if they try to charge 70, they've already had enough negative shit. This would have gotten huge pushback. Like $70 for this,
right?
50
does make it feel like every little janky moment, or kind of like Derek says, feeling like an old game moment. I am super cool about it. Like, I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'm having fun. This is a good time. This feels like going back to play an old game with upgraded graphics, and I'm having a good time. And there's something about spending $20 less, which is so silly, but there's something psychological about that. I'm like, it's okay that it's not perfect. I'm getting what I paid for, even though I spent $50 on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall, I think it is a pretty good time. I think the story is very standard Assassin's Creed story. You're a normal dude who gets caught up into this big world of assassins and Templars when some horrible stuff happens to you, and you get trained up, and then it throws you into the open world as an early assassin, and you're working your way up. Like, it's very similar to many of the other Assassin's Creed games. I will say this though: the stealth is finally back, and assassinating someone for real. Like, you can sneak up to most enemies, not all. I've just encountered a few recently that are too strong to be killed in one hit. Like, they can kind of counter you, and you can take off a chunk of their health, but then you have to fight them. But most enemies, it's one stab, one kill, one knife throw to the head, one kill, and it's awesome. I'm like, okay, I'm an assassin again. So that part.
Yeah, I like that. I do think there's some issues maybe, and I've never said that I'm great at stealth. I've never said that. So it could also just be me. But I also think like design, like level design, like if you're wanting me to play a stealth game and then you send me in on a mission, you're like, well, you got to steal this key and unlock this door to get this thing inside, and then there's like 80 gazillion guards. It's like,
and the guy with the keys in the middle of all of them.
Yes, literally the mission I just did. That's why I was late. The guy's just walking in the middle. I'm like, okay. I did actually successfully steal it by walking through the crowd. I don't know how. Like, I wasn't like hiding in the crowd. Like, I walked behind them, snuck through 2 of them, stole the key, then got through the door, did all the stuff, and then when I left the area, there was a ton of guys around, and I got caught. So, like, and that's where my other main issue is. I do not like the combat. It is definitely old school Assassin's Creed, and it's almost like, hey, this is so bad, you better stealth, otherwise you're not gonna like this game.
I have reloaded saves when I've gotten into a full-fledged combat. I'm like, this combat's not my favorite.
Especially like if you're fighting weaker guys, it's fine because you can hit them, you can block them. But there's like these guys with like 2 stamina bars or whatever, 2 bars.
Yeah.
And they're the higher tier enemies that I'm running into, and I'm like, okay, I can't hit you with a heavy attack. I can't hit you with a light attack. You do 90% of your attacks are red, which means I have to dodge. You do 10% are deflectable, but they're done in a weird timing that's real fast that I can't even deflect because I'm so paranoid you're going to do red.
So I've already dodged.
Yeah, so I've already dodged like a gazillion times. I'm like, these fights are dumb. This is so stupid.
I've dodged a lot of parries that I should have hit parry, and
especially with those guys. With the other guys, I'm ready to deflect, but with them, I'm like, this is stupid. So I noticed. I think I only watched one review. And one of their biggest complaints is like the whole mission structure is stupid because once you get caught, essentially what you need to do is not even bother fighting. Just run, hide, have them reset, then go, and then kill them one by one by whistling. Which again, I know I'm being overly harsh, but please understand I am actually enjoying this game. But this is just me being annoyed by little things. So I hid in like this bed of roses or whatever, right? I'm hiding there, and there's 4 guards. I whistle. One walks over. I kill him. None of them. They're all in the same area. I whistle again. The other one walks over. I kill him. I whistle again. The other one walks over. I kill him. I whistle again. The other. I was like, come on, man. This is like.
That's just the age-old
wonkiness. Old school gaming of like, we're not trying. We're not trying.
But that's just the thing with stealth games. That's the tricky thing. It's whenever they try to really, I don't know. It is difficult. I get making a stealth game just feels really difficult. Trying to find that right balance.
I agree. I really think the key to stealth game is level design. I don't think you can just have missions. I shouldn't say just level design. Level design matters, but also your mission too. Don't have me infiltrate like. Have me do stuff where people aren't expecting me. It's like switch up the missions. Don't make it all the same where you're just infiltrating palaces that have 100 gazillion guys there. Yeah, then you're gonna have to cheese stuff, and then that kind of takes away from. I remember doing that all of us are used to now.
In Mafia 3, I would do a lot of like hide around the corner, whistle. They'd walk over, I'd stab them. I did that like 8 guards in a row. I had a big pile of bodies just behind the same pillar.
And people hated Mafia 3 for that because they were like, that's stupid.
I kind of like that part of it. But you know, one of the things I like that's finally back is a really useful, helpful like, eagle friend. Because in some of the open world games, the eagle, you can use it to get a bird's eye view, literally, but you can't always tag things the way you want. It doesn't always give you the visuals when you're back on the ground doing stuff. And this is kind of back to that ability to properly tag everyone. You can see where they are. You can chart their movement. So I like that. That helps me a lot with the stealth stuff. But yeah, because of some of the jankiness, there are times I've gotten spotted that I'm like, I didn't mean to crawl up that wall. That was not at all what I was trying to do, but this game made me do it. So like, there are times like that where that part's a little frustrating. But I would say 9 times out of 10, I'm kind of right back in the groove of the OG Assassin's Creed stealth vibes, where it's crouch down, sneak around until their little bar it starts to grow white, and then it turns yellow when they start to really notice, and then you got to do a blend in, and I just kind of stand there in the crowd till it goes back down, and like I'm just kind of back in that flow of that kind of thing, and I like it. I've already wandered around the wilderness a little bit. There's a lot more open, wild space than I realized there would be. It's not just a city, so there's like the round city, which I think is literally called Round City or something like that, like that centerpiece. And then outside of that, you've got
they really didn't try with this game.
They've got a couple.
This city is
round city, and then next to it, square block and rectangle boulevard.
And they've got a couple little towns, like the one you start in, like your little Anwar town or whatever that one's called. That's where you start. And then in between, there's all kinds of desert and open space. And I've already found this big, deep underground cavern that had this cool hidden one's dagger extra item. So like, there's plenty of off the beaten path stuff to go do if you want to. Maybe not as much as the recent games, of course. Those games you could spend 200 hours in Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and still not see everything, which is crazy.
Right, true.
That's what will hook me. Is I'm gonna try to get like the best gear that I can.
Yeah.
Because I like doing that.
The armor and gear still looks great. I love the way.
So I'm gonna do the contracts. I've already done a couple of them. I'm gonna do a lot of the contracts because that's how you unlock better gear. Aside from, you're going to still get stuff in the main missions, but some of the better gear that people want, that's in the contract. So I'll definitely dive into that and jump into those more. And then I'll probably see more of the world when I do it too, because I think they take you all over the place. But overall, I like it. I just feel like it's just one of those, like, if I was talking to somebody who was on the fence, I'd be like, you could hold off. I mean, if you're cool paying $50, fine, but I can see this game dropping to $20-$30 within a couple. Well, I would say by Black Friday, you're going to be able to get at least $20 off, so you could easily get this game for $30.
Probably 30. Yeah. It's I would say overall it's a very solid entry in the old school version of the franchise. Like, it'd be kind of like, oh yeah, this is on par with I'm trying to think of one to compare it to, because I actually liked Unity more than. I mean, it got a lot of hate for some reason. Unity was
loved
awesome.
Unity.
It just had that jank, and also the face stuff.
It did have some. Well, the face stuff was.
I never
on
ran
PC,
into,
but I
the
never
issue,
saw
so,
it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not quite as good as like Syndicate and Unity. I think those are like the peak of that style, and I of course love Black Flag as well. It's somewhere in that range though. Like, it's better than 3, but not as good as those last couple.
3 just had a super cool setting, but it was
and a pretty fun story too. Just something about it was.
It was, but the ending was lame.
The ending was super lame. Yeah.
And like the tricky thing with that setting is like you don't have a lot of buildings to be playing around with, and tall buildings either, because of just what the setting is. So,
which is what made London and France both so awesome. Those cities in Unity and Syndicate. Yeah, I agree. That's why a modern day one would still be freaking sweet.
Well, that felt like the build up, but we never got there. So it very much felt. I think there was literally art of Delson, like in like sort of near future tech. Like,
they did one where you need to do a chase scene in one of the Assassin's Creeds in modern day. You do some kind of chase scene.
That sounds familiar.
In one of them, I forget which one.
I think it was very brief. I think it was very
modern
brief.
day would be cool. So what's cool too is about Basim is that not only can you actually equip his armor from Valhalla. I don't know if you have to have a Valhalla save with Ubisoft or something, but it unlocked for me. I don't know if that's for everybody. I assume it is. But you can put on his armor, which is a super cool set of armor that he wears in Valhalla. So you can switch over to that. And there's tons of other armor that you can get. And of course, Ubisoft always has like their little store where you can spend $10-$20 to buy new skins for your mount or your eagle or your armor. So if you really want to do that, it's not my thing, but yeah, overall, I think all that design stuff is really good. And Basim plays a super important role at the end of Valhalla, especially. He's kind of there as a very loose tie for your Vikings to the Assassin's Creed world, and it's a little bit of a stretch, and it's not a great. It's one of their weakest Assassin's Creed storylines in Valhalla, but at the end, he comes into play big time with the modern story as well, and it's a really cool way they do that, I thought. So I'm intrigued by what his character is all about, what's motivating him, because I still don't know. Do I like this guy or not? Like, he's an interesting character.
That was what I was gonna say. Again, I'm nitpicking, but it's just one of my observations as I was playing. I was like, wow, this is like, I feel like I'm contradicting myself, because like you're in cutscenes and Basim or whatever is like, yeah, I just really want to help the people and blah blah blah, and then I'm like 2 seconds later I'm running down the street pickpocketing everybody,
even poor people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, which one do you want to do? You want to help people, or you want to steal from them?
It procedurally generates who has a pouch that you can pickpocket, and that could be on the poorest of the poor on the side of the road, and you're like,
oh yeah, I just stole from an old poor person who's like going through trash, but he had a sack of goods, so I took it from him. I was like,
you see, and that's kind of poor game design, because it's like maybe you like omit those character models from that, so it doesn't seem like you're just robbing poor people, like. You know,
it's like the opposite of Robin Hood or Aladdin or whatever, where it's a good guy thief. It's like, no, I'm just bad, I think.
I'm booting it up now because I had one uniform or whatever they call it, costume. Let me hold on 1 second. Sorry.
I do miss like the classic assassins like outfits and stuff with the hood and everything.
So they look so good.
Yeah. Well, that's what I have.
Your trainer lady at the beginning has a great set of armor too. Like, they design those things really well.
Yeah.
So if you type in, like, if you guys want to Google it, Ezio's Revelations costume, I got that through Ubisoft.
The darker one.
It's super cool looking. And then I have Basim's Valhalla costume, which I thought was cool, but I really like Ezio's Revelations costume.
Was it Revelations or Brotherhood, when they really started letting you, maybe it was 2, when they really start letting you change the dye on your armor and change the design, all that.
Was that 2?
So.
Dude, that was so cool when they started doing that.
Yeah, you have dye in this one too, which is cool. So
yeah. There's
I
think
there's
a lot
I'm gonna
to
end up loving it, but
there's a lot to like. I think it all plays like I expect from an old school Assassin's Creed game, but it feels like going kind of backwards in some ways, and that's not always a bad thing, I guess, when it comes to some game designs. Like I think by the time Syndicate came out, a lot of people, I wasn't included, thought this design is getting old. It's time to do something new. Sure. I thought Syndicate was like their peak. I thought it was such a good version of that style of game. And so this is finally a return to that. Some people are going to love it. I know Jesse, for example, he loves this style. He's really excited, and he really does not like the main trilogy. He thinks those games are bloated, and that's fine. I understand that opinion. I freaking love those games. I love a good Witcher 3 style RPG with a massive world that I don't have enough time to explore. There's something about that I actually like in a lot of games, so that didn't bother me. But this still feels fun to return to and to play through, and it feels completable, which is sort of a nice feeling to have, as I am
especially nowadays
still playing through all these massive games, trying to wrap things up. It's nice that something feels completable, so, and I think there's not too many like main bosses to take down, and you can go through it pretty quickly. I can see why people finish this in that 10 to 17 hour range is what I keep hearing.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So
if you just focus on story, I think like I said, the contracts are going to be fun.
Yeah. There's plenty of extra stuff to do
if you want like loot and stuff like that.
I like going and unlocking all the synchronized points, but not everyone cares about that. But like I like doing
I do.
Yeah. So.
Or there's always the whatever like the main secret special dungeon is with like the best unique armor, like that they did a lot in the classic ones, and I always love that because you get the really sick the sick armor piece.
Sometimes they'd have it like locked in the basement, right? And you have to like find the keys throughout the world to come unlock it, and then or whatever. Yeah.
I do want to compliment one thing, like I feel like this is a really good looking game on the PS5. So I did get to play it for like an hour on PC. I had a lot of issues with UB Connect, which you guys were talking about earlier. I ended up refunding it on Epic because I was just like, I'm not going to deal with UB Connect anymore. I'm tired of logging in and then having to re-verify my account. Like, screw off, die, I hate you and your runtime errors. So I refunded it, which I was really bummed about because I've said this before. I played Valhalla. I played over 100 hours of Valhalla. Yep. I played that most of it on PC, and I love the way their games look on PC, like maxed out the way I play. So I was a little bummed I was having to go with PS5 because, not trying to be like, oh, I only accept the highest level of stuff, but there are certain games on these current gen consoles that just don't look even remotely as good as you can get them on PC. And then there are some where I've complimented in the past where I'm like, you know what? That's not a huge drop off at all. Even with max settings and all that stuff, this is one of them where I'm like, I don't feel like this is a huge drop off. I was playing it on very high settings on my PC, and I don't feel like this is a huge drop off at all. I'm like, this looks really, really good. Yep. Like, I'm playing quality, by the way, so that means I'm playing at native 4K. The lighting is really, really good. This is a really, really good looking game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, overall enjoying it. I think I'm more like, hey, this is probably more of an 8 out of 10 for me. Like, if I like to give things like out of 5 stars. It's probably sitting right around the 4 out of 5 stars. Like I couldn't give it less than that. It's too fun. Like, I'm having too much fun with it, even with my nitpicks, which are mostly like, they feel like familiar Assassin's Creed nitpicks. When we talk about Assassin's Creed series, or if we talk about Far Cry, it's like the familiar refrains. It's all that same stuff, and it's nothing that I hate. It's stuff that I'm actually quite used to. It's almost comforting because it's familiar. I'm like, oh yeah, remember when I can't run up the wall I wanted to? That's fun. Like, I just kind of, I don't know. I just remember that stuff, and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So
I would say alternatively to people that are interested in it, just do what I'm doing and get a month of the Ubi Plus on PC or the Xbox to try it out. because even I think a month, especially if you don't plan on getting a lot of other games, it's plenty of time to beat a smaller experience like this.
And try a couple other things maybe you skipped, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that. I said it sarcastically, but I'm definitely going to try Crew Motorfest because it does look fun, but I'm not, obviously I don't expect to get glued to it or anything. It's just while I have the sub, it's, it's going to be right there.
Yeah, Jeff's going to get glued to it.
It's going to be my new favorite game of the year. Yep. Theater Rhythm and the Crew Motorfest is going to come up all the time during Game of the Year. Yeah.
Yes.
Last thing I'll say about it, though, is it is actually really making me want to go play the much bigger, more RPG-centric Origins, or maybe even Odyssey again. Like, it makes me...
I miss, or I have this very small itch sometimes to be like, I want to play Origins again. That's my favorite of those three, just because it's
so
the most
good.
unique setting. It's the most unique to me. So Egypt is just so cool.
I'll agree with... you know what? I can't even agree, because I did not even get that far to the combat stuff. But I did... No, I'm not even going to count that as combat. I got spotted and just tried doing light stabs until the guy collapsed. At the very beginning of the game. But I will say that combat gets introduced to you right away in the first three of the main trilogy. The main new trilogy, I mean, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. So I did play enough of all three of those to be able to fight.
Yes.
And that combat is so fun. It's like so immediately, like they up the ante each entry. Like it feels better each entry. So it's like it's a little strange and maybe a little telling that Mirage is like, we're not gonna have you fight yet. Hold on. You're gonna have to wait a bit.
Yeah.
Let's figure that out. You gotta go to Brotherhood first.
They only have there's 4 elements basically to combat. There's parry and dodge, light attack, and then strong attack is just holding in light attack. So it's a little bit of a longer animation. That's pretty much it. Like there's not much else to it. One of the things that's cool though, that you unlock this assassin's ability, which allows you to dart around, and the more you can upgrade that, so you can do more assassinations in a row.
I've seen that where you can teleport basically.
It's almost you feel like Nightcrawler from X-Men or something.
Sure.
You just kind of like flash to the next guy and stab him, and they're all kind of going slow motion as you're just stabbing them. That feels freaking awesome. But it's of course it's a very limited use because you have to build that up through stealth attacks is the best way to build that up. So it's like stealth around for a while, do some assassinations, and then when you get to a room like Derek described, you could, if you have that leveled up enough at least, it starts with only 2. You have 2 charges, but you can build it up to be more charges than that.
I figured because it's still an RPG light, right? Like it's
very light, but it's there. There's a skill tree, but there's only like maybe 8 skills under each one, and they're very generous with skill points. They'll give you like, hey, you finished this. Here's 3 skill points. I'm like, how did I?
Damn.
Okay.
Cyberpunk is being very, very selective with
they're stingy with those skills, man.
Come on, man. I'm so close.
I do think the limited combat makes sense though, because it goes back to the origins of the whole thing, which is you're an assassin and you're not really meant to just be out there like freaking just cutting up everybody.
True. Odyssey and Valhalla have the settings lend themselves to the type of action that you were doing in the game.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense.
You're a Spartan, you're a Viking, like not a lot of sneaking around in bushes happening. Like you're
Yeah. Why is it called assassin?
But
I can see why people make that argument. Yeah.
I still think you can make the fighting fun and more competent than what they did.
Right.
But maybe have you have less abilities and take more damage. So it would be a little more difficult, but not be like the system that they have now where it's like, oh, this big dude, he's just going to keep doing unblockable moves and you just got to run away. Like, it's dumb. That's dumb.
Yeah. No, I agree. The combat is not its strong point, but it never was a strong point in most Assassin's Creed old school games. Like, even one of my favorites, like Syndicate, had some of my favorite combat animations. The stuff you could do to counter in Syndicate looked so awesome. Like down in the alleyways of London, doing all like you had the cane sword. It was so freaking awesome. Like it was very cool.
Very
but it was still very like hit one button and you can do a whole bunch of awesome stuff, and then hit a second button, follow up, and you'll do more awesome stuff. Like it didn't feel. I still remember in Origins when you first are going through those ruins and they have you face off with that first enemy and how to lock on and dodge, and you're attacking with R1. Like all of a sudden I was like, is this a Witcher / like Souls style game? What are they doing here? And it was just so unique and so awesome. I loved the way they went with that. And this is not that, which is okay. It's just not my personal preference. Overall, very fun though. I'm loving being a sneaky assassin. I'm approaching it more like I do when I play Hitman or older Assassin's Creed games. Not at all the way I played Odyssey or Valhalla, especially. Origins, I was
definitely
still
trying to stealth.
Yeah.
I'm definitely trying to stealth.
Yeah. So anyway, pretty fun game. And we'll have more thoughts on that too. I'm sure. I think at least a couple of us will probably finish it here in the next week or two. It's not a super.
I mean, I'm just gonna change the subject just real quick. But if I was wearing a shirt, or if I wore shirts, I just wanted to show off. Like, can you actually see this?
See Clive.
Oh
yeah.
See, I hate how my camera does this. Anyways, this is
it's green.
solid.
It's the green screen superimposed.
Yeah, it's
I know.
It's trying to see you, like it's outlining your head. It thinks.
Yeah.
It's more of your Forza background.
It's just car.
Whatever.
It's just
Anyways,
car.
I'll post
Yeah,
it on our Facebook group. I have 2 really awesome Final Fantasy 16 shirts because I only buy good shirts, unlike Jeff and Dan, who bought the trashy Final Fantasy 16.
I'm pretty sure that design was the same one, but okay, it's all right. That's fine.
What are you talking about?
What's just like
the T-shirt trash talk is confusing, but all right.
T-shirt trash talk.
I only wear elite level movie shirts.
There you go. Oh, I like that a lot.
Ironic, somebody talking trash about shirts when you barely freaking wear any.
Yeah, you don't believe in shirts. That's you got a hippie.
I like to think you have. I like to think you have a dress blanket for your work meetings.
I really thought about wearing a shirt tonight just to show it off, and I was like,
nope, not gonna do it. Yeah.
I'll just try to show it on the camera, which obviously rejected.
That's what you get. That's what you get for talking trash.
Now it's possible.
Your camera was like, these are terrible. Don't show them to.
It's possible one of you have Detective Pikachu Returns as a surprise game this week, but unlikely. No one's played that.
It's Kyle. That's why he's not on the show. He's actually embarrassed.
I have to say, no, I didn't get it at all.
Okay, didn't get it. Okay. This does not feel like
I could have done like a fake sports analysis like Kyle does, and
there's
with
Pokemon
Pikachu.
And there's mysteries happening, and you
Pikachu's like real cute, and like the way you traverse, like it feels really natural and like organic, and like I'm just making shit up, like
yeah,
and like doesn't he sound like Danny DeVito in the games or something? Like he sounds like
I think he does. He definitely smokes. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he's like my name's Detective Pikachu.
Does he really? That would have been so funny if they got Nintendo has the money to get actual Danny DeVito to do that. That'd be so funny.
So I just started blasting, and I was solving crimes.
Yeah.
She's a whore.
She's a whore. Whore. And that's why she's dead. And now I got to solve the crime.
That was a big Nintendo release from this past week, but it's not really a current gen podcast crew game necessarily. Although I think we all liked the movie, but those games, the DS one and this one, aren't really anything that most of us play. I did play a little bit of Wargroove 2. I don't have a lot to say about it. It is exactly like Wargroove 1, at least in the combat. Which is totally fine. I expect that from a small studio who's making a kind of a Fire Emblem Advance Wars combined. It's way more Advance Wars, where everyone's got 10 health points, and certain types are stronger against other types, which is also a little bit like Fire Emblem. So there's pieces of both, but to me, it's much more like medieval Advance Wars, the way the game plays. If you've played both, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, it's good, but it's also pretty shallow, just in terms of story and characters. It doesn't do the Fire Emblem thing where it makes you care about a whole bunch of different characters. But I'm not that far into it. I only played it for a handful of minutes earlier today.
20-minute Tim.
But it was 20-minute Tim. Yeah. But this is one that I've got a work trip here in a couple of weeks. This is one I'll play on that work trip along with Mario Wonder and stuff like that. So it was okay.
Oh,
it was okay.
We're getting way too close to that.
That's like in 2 weeks, man.
Insanely monstrous release date.
Yeah, it's actually less than 2 weeks now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
something like that.
We're less than 2 weeks. Lamplighters League has hit all platforms, including Game Pass. If you want to give that one a try, I played it for a little bit. Did anyone else play it?
No,
I played it.
This is not a Jeff game.
I don't know what that is.
So Lamplighters League, think like it's an XCOM style game, but it's much simpler. It's a little more Mario plus Rabbids than XCOM, just in terms of its complexity. And the setting is very much Sky Captain
Noir.
Tomorrow. If you ever saw that Jude Law movie, or even League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a little bit. It has that vibe to it.
I love that style.
Yeah, it's a cool style.
Yeah.
The music is great.
That's why I downloaded it.
Yeah, the music is great. The characters kind of have that, listen here, see, like style to their characters. They don't talk like that, but you know what I mean? It just kind of has that vibe to it. And I already have a crew of like 4 people, got through the first area, got to the main home base where you can do all your upgrades and kind of get sent off on your main mission. And I think it's solid. I don't know. It's hard to recommend unless you really like XCOM style games. I will say this: they let you move freely in the environment in a way that a lot of those strategy games don't. Like Mario plus Rabbids does. You can wander the environment and then you enter combat.
Carrier Chronicles.
Yes, yeah, in a way similar to that. This is an isometric view. You can wander around, and then you have for each mission that you're on, every character has a certain number of special moves. Like there's this guy who can pick locks, and he can throw these electric traps. And so he could, before combat ever starts, throw an electric trap into like a puddle or a pile of, or maybe there's like a leaking oil can or something nearby, and that'll ignite and kill anybody nearby. And you don't go into combat; you just killed those guys and got their stuff and experience. And the girl is a bruiser, so she can charge in and knock them out. You have a little sniper, sneaky guy.
Of course, the girl's the bruiser. Of course.
Of course, yeah.
It's woke,
but she looks like a reporter. She doesn't look big. Whatever.
I know. She's like really dainty.
Yeah, she's not. It's fine. She punches or kicks through a brick wall in like the first 10 minutes. It's fine.
Regular stuff that regular stuff.
But I do like that you can activate combat at any point. You can just activate turn-based combat, go, and wherever you're standing is where it starts. And you have one chance to attack the enemies. They might even be alerted, but since it's turn-based, you have one chance to take a shot at them or bum rush them or whatever you want to do, and then they'll run to get cover, and then the combat kind of goes in. So it's a nice, smooth transition into combat. I like it. It's a solid little game. Certainly worth your time if you like strategy games and you have Game Pass. Highly recommend at least trying it. But it's not
play it more if it came out at a different time.
Yeah, like Christmas. Put this game out at Christmas. I might play it a little longer.
It's actually, I think that would have been a great time to release it. But
yeah, because it does kind of feel like it's funny. I was just watching. We were watching Indiana Jones today with the family, watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it just kind of has that
in a museum.
It has that. Right. It has that Uncharted Indiana Jones kind of. There's an adventure vibe, and you're trying to. You're adventurers who are also a little bit selfish. You're a little bit Han Solo, Indiana Jones style, but you're the good guys, and there's the bad guys who are going after the same prize, but they're super evil. And I don't know. It works. It kind of has that classic storytelling element to it. Anyway, pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty good little game there. Forza Motorsport is out in early access, and there's a lot of talk. It's so funny. Most of the talk is on which game looks better. I think this game and Gran Turismo 7 was that from last year, right?
Yes.
They're both gorgeous sim racers that I will never play because I don't care about those kind of games, but they both look really good.
You're so uncultured.
I know. I admit that wholeheartedly. But Forza Motorsport does sound like it's actually pretty fun to play as well. Outside of the comparisons to its competition, Derek, how are you liking this? Is it giving you what you expected from a Forza Motorsport game?
It's giving me what I expected and actually more. I like, and Kyle said it in his post, I really like the car RPG style that they have here. Now, the GT7 did this as well. It's a little different. I feel like Forza Motorsport has made it easier. So, like, if you're stupid, they're like, here, we'll do it for you. Whereas GT7, I'm not saying they didn't do that, but they kind of made it more. They didn't throw it in your face that you can, modify your car and make it better in certain racing cups. So what I mean is, like, for instance, you might be in a tournament where the highest the rating of the car can be is 600, and you buy a car and it's like 510. So you're not obviously at 600, and you can't use a car that maybe you own other cars that are higher, so you can't use that. So you got to stay in that class. You got to stay in that power level. So after you finish a race, so let's say there's 5 races in a cup. After you finish race 1, you'll earn like CP, I think they call it, and you can use that currency to upgrade your car. You can do it manually, or you can do what Derek does, and that's, hey, you guys tell me what's the best setup for the money I have. Auto upgrade it for me. Yeah. And they'll tell me, hey, your car went from 515 to 527, and here's where it buffed it. So your acceleration moved up a point, your braking got better by a point, and it'll just let you know what you did. And then you can feel it normally, as you progress through the cup, by the time you get to the end, your car's been leveled up by like 50 to 60 power points.
That's cool.
You can definitely tell that it's faster, that it's braking better, it's handling turns better. So I really, really like that. I personally, and I know Kyle disagreed with me, I personally thought GT7 was not that great of looking of a game. What I mean by that is it's still a good looking game, but I thought it was very bland. It's a very bland. Like even like the backgrounds, the like everything you're driving by feels like last gen. This game, because I'm an Xbot, doesn't feel last gen.
Yeah,
like everything feels current gen. There is ray tracing. Yes, it's fake ray tracing on Xbox. I always say that crap because consoles don't have real ray tracing.
I don't know what that means. Keep going.
But what I mean is like GT7 didn't have any ray tracing like if you're racing. Like if you go look at the car, I think you could turn on ray tracing mode and you could look at the car in ray tracing. The car can't move, so I thought that was really stupid. I don't even know why you would include that. In this game, ray tracing is included in the racing. It's in all areas of the game. So if you activate it, and there's modes, I think there's 3 modes. There's like quality, which is 30 frames per second, 4K, and ray tracing turned on. Then there's performance, and then performance ray tracing. And then performance is obviously 60 frames without, I guess, no ray tracing at all. And then performance ray tracing has ray tracing, but I think they target 60, but they probably don't hit it. I don't know. I didn't test them. I didn't care. I actually only played on Xbox one time. I did it today, and I put it on quality. I gotta say it looks outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. It ran smooth. It sounds great. I have a surround sound, so the Dolby Atmos sounds great. It looks great. It plays great. Like I said, even if it's not your thing, maybe check it out just to see if you like, well, hey, I like that I'm upgrading and stuff like that. You might end up liking it. Plus, this game's a little bit, it's just easier than GT7. GT7 is like, I think somebody compared it like to, it's like the Souls game of racing, where it's like you F up, you're screwed, right? Everything's a Souls game. This game's like, oh, you messed up? You want to rewind?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll rewind. And when you first start it, they had my car completely assisted. Like I didn't choose it. I didn't realize they had done this. And so I'm driving, I'm like, I'm holding down the gas all the way. Why am I barely accelerating? So then I went into options. I was like, oh, this game's basically driving for me. They're just pretending like they're like, good job, Derek. And I'm not really doing
It's like
anything.
those Mario Kart options where you're like, I'm not even steering or
I'm not steering. I'm not doing anything. So I modified it and I actually turned all assists off, except I wanted to see where they highlight on the track, like, hey, you should brake really hard right now, or you should lightly brake or let off the gas. So I only did that on turns to kind of help me with that. But other than that, I'm driving the car fully on my own, and I rarely have to use rewind. There's also level of difficulties. I don't think GT7 has level of difficulties. You either suck or you're good. You know, that's the bottom line. It's a harder game. This game's like, hey, you're beating everybody by like 8 miles. Do you want to turn the difficulty up, or do you want to turn it down because you suck? So there's a lot more to play around with if you're a noob to these type of games, but it's a really good game, and it's one of those games where it's my non-thinking game. So if I just want to play something, but I don't want to like get frustrated or think about stuff, this is the perfect game. So I definitely know I will sink a ton of hours into this because
it hits Game Pass on Monday, I think. So the day this podcast is out, you should be able to download it on Game Pass, I believe.
Yeah,
it's either Monday or Tuesday, but yeah, it's early this week.
The 10th, Tuesday.
So Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Is that a Southern thing? Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tuesday. It's definitely not a New England thing.
Tuesday, isn't it? You know, if you want to go British. It's Tuesday. Isn't it?
I realized that while Derek was talking, there was something he said that I agreed with, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I said, "I like that," and it reminded me of Your Mom's House, like with Garth Brooks. Like, I like that. I don't know if you guys have watched the Your Mom's House Garth Brooks stuff, but it's
not that part. I don't remember that.
They have all kinds of quotes from him where Garth Brooks is a
weird guy.
Crazy. He's very strange. I'm convinced he's a psychopath who just happens to be good at country music and has hit.
I think he's more robot than human at this point.
Yeah, but there's times where he'll he's so overly enthusiastic and overly attempting to be sincere in all of his social media posts. It's creepy, and that's what Your Mom's House is, of course, called out.
Didn't he do?
And there's a time where he'll be like this. He'll look at the camera and go, "I like that." But it feels so creepy and not right. And he's trying to be sincere.
There was one video that they analyze every single video that he does.
I know. Where are the bodies?
Every expression. It's so funny. But there's one that they were doing for like a hurricane or a tsunami relief. Yes. Garth and his wife were sitting there, and like the enthusiasm Garth had for like his wife said something like, and these families have it rough, and he goes, yeah. Let me tell you, like, it just just the way he was like, oh boy, yeah, you
wouldn't believe it.
But he does these weird laughs where I think they did something for Ukraine too, where they were like, and then it was like, we stand for justice, we stand for whatever, and he goes, and we stand for Ukraine or whatever. Like it was some kind of weird
like so it's a tick of his then. Yeah, he did that during like the tsunami relief thing too, or it was like it was the same exact thing where he was like yeah, we really got it.
I think somebody needs to check in on Garth. Somebody's got to check in.
Where are the bodies?
Where are the bodies?
Dude, I highly recommend for anyone either on the show if you haven't yet, but also if you're listening or watching, just go watch the Your Mom's House compilations on Garth Brooks and the way they break down videos, and Tom Segura especially kind of goes after him, and the way that their fans have gone after him on social media, and he's picked up on it. Like he is now very aware. Because they'll go onto a post he makes, and there'll be hundreds of Tom Segura fans posting like, "Where are the bodies, Garth?" Like posting all the things that they'll say on their show. It's so.
Could you imagine? You just wake up one morning, you're like, "What the?" Like just scrolling through, you're like, "What?"
They're convinced he murders people regularly.
Sure.
Yeah, because his tour dates tend to coincide with the dates that women or people go missing. Yeah.
In those cities.
Yeah, in those cities. And it's like one-off coincidences, but it's enough of a thread for it to be a bit, basically, which is it's a great bit.
It's a hilarious bit.
Yeah,
we gotta dive deeper.
Highly recommend checking that out. Other new games that are out, of course, Disgaea 7 came out to really great reviews. I know that series is really, really well loved by a lot of folks. It's never one that I've gotten into, but people like it. So that one's out. There's this new little game called Ignis Stone, which I think looks kind of cool. They say it's all based on parrying, but it's got a very cartoony vibe. I think it looks cool, but I haven't played it. Silent Hope, I think, is a Square game. The idea is that the town that no one can talk. It's like Derek's Perfect Town.
Yeah, it looks like a co-op game.
No one's allowed, and so that one looks cool, but it's kind of another swimming in sevens.
It's marvelous. It's marvelous published by Xseed.
Xseed, okay, not Square.
So it's one of those marvelous Xseed games.
It looks like, it reminds me of like Final Fantasy Explorers style like visuals.
It just looks like a fun anime style like co-op game where you just kind of are in dungeons fighting. I was considering getting this when I first saw it, I think, but I think it's like $50. So I'm like, oh wait,
it's a little steep at the moment for what it looks like. Then, of course, there's Thief Simulator 2, which, shut up, I'm probably going to get it and play it. I don't care. You guys leave me alone. Those games are so ugly, but they're so fun for some reason to me. I don't have to go into it again. And then High on Life, the High on Knife DLC.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, my gosh. Which is a great name, but apparently maybe not the best content.
Yeah, that's about how it's being reviewed and how I felt about it in my 20 minutes. 20-minute take. It's coming.
It's pretty good.
Make a jingle, guys.
Good. Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Okay. I legitimately did put around 20 to 30 minutes.
20 minutes is a good time for a girl.
In this game,
honestly, it's a good average.
So she needs to get over it.
Yeah, that's honestly pretty good endurance.
Yeah.
If you're judging based on all
it's
other dudes.
Yeah, what are we, The Rock? You know? What are we, The Rock? Are we jacked?
What does he say? Going to the gym? banging and clanging. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
okay.
Gosh.
5 a.m. All right. Dude.
Okay, Dwayne. All right.
Yeah. All right, Dewey.
All right.
Banging and clanging.
But this game actually, putting 20-30 minutes is about right for this DLC specifically, because the DLC is like 2 hours. So I mean, really, I'm doing us all a service.
You should instead say I've played 10% of. No, that's more than 10%.
I played 25% of this.
25% of this game. Yeah.
So it turns out that Justin Roiland was a lot of the comedy in this game.
Okay.
I really don't know any of the details of what happened with him. I just vaguely scroll sometimes mindlessly and goes, oh, that sounds pretty bad, and that's all I still don't even remember specifics.
But High on Life was a funny core game.
Yes,
we've talked about that.
It turns out a lot of the jokes were coming from an improvised place that it was primarily him. That turns out that's why he was mostly avoiding his Rick and Morty coworkers, was he was just messing around with video games. That's what I'm guessing, but because this one feels more scripted and the jokes feel a little more forced and they're just not hitting me the same. Sure. The gameplay is still surprisingly fun. Like, they introduced a new gun that's just called Ball. BALL. It's an acronym. I can't remember I think the guy that gives it to you even says, I don't know what the acronym's for. It just means ball. And what it is, it's like, it's tiny. It's 3 tiny aliens on the gun, reloading the gun and shooting it for you. And then they're like, and they make noises sometimes.
That's awesome.
Like Simlish noises. And the ammo or whatever, like it bounces, it like ricochets off of things. It's kind of like a pinball gun almost, where it just bounces off, and you can like lay down mines, pretty much like pinball, and just shoot it at one of the mines, and it'll just bounce and ricochet off it.
That's fun concept.
Yeah, it's a fun weapon. Like this game, just like it at launch, when we played it, it was like, this is more fun than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, like, it doesn't play like a busted ass AA game. It plays a little better. And that's the case for the DLC. It's just the fun part of it was all the humor in the main game, and in this, it's like, it's just not as present for me. Gotcha. It's just people dropping the F-bomb to try and be funny out of shock value, and not so much with purpose and intent. And like, I don't know, man. It's just not. Doesn't
humor
click.
Quality is important, and it doesn't sound like it's there.
In this game specifically, where that's like its thing,
Yeah.
There was a funny part in the intro where there's a guy, because I never beat the full game. There's a guy on the TV, and it's like he's a news reporter, and he's like, and if you need a recap of this for some reason, and he's like kind of in a bitter way giving you a recap of the main game and what happened. And he even says like blah blah blah, and then this happens, and now your sister's missing, and then blah, blah blah. Okay, I don't even know why you didn't know that, but that's happened. Can I go back to doing the weather now? I'm the freaking weather guy. Like, and he goes on a rant. Okay,
that's pretty good.
Funny. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
So there's every now and then there's some funny bits. But yeah, it's clear that there's a presence missing from the game.
Sure. Yeah, no, I get that.
I'm not taking a stand one way or the other. I'm just saying that is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for new games, right? Any other new game? I mean, that's a lot. That's several new games.
Are we counting the Robocop demo at all, or should I just save that?
I don't care. It's a new demo. What do you think about it?
It did just drop.
It's Robocop.
I'm surprised that, like, the combat is what I expected. You're Robocop who moves slow, and you're OP, and your gun just splits dudes' heads open. Yeah. It's hilarious. But I'm more surprised at the interactive stuff, where you can pick up computers that throw it at people. You can pick up like gas tanks and throw it at them, and their bodies just explode in such a comically violent way. You can pick up the enemies and throw them out the window of a high tower building. Hilarious. You can pick up enemies and throw them at each other.
Destructible like walls and stuff, which is cool, because if taking cover, you just chip away at the, like, very Matrix style, like true. That one scene.
It's got the destructible thing that I think COD started that first, didn't they? The whole destructible.
Or Battlefield? Wasn't that
Battlefield? Battlefield. I knew it was one of the two.
Same game.
Same exact game, guys.
Game.
We just got canceled by a lot of people.
They play identically. Same exact game.
There's zero difference between those two games.
Medal of Honor, also the same.
Medal of Honor, same game.
Same exact games. Elite Sniper, Elite, same exact.
Yeah,
no.
Sniper. Zombie Army, whatever that other one is, same game.
Zombie Army, Left 4 Dead, same game. This game is it's about what I expected the combat to be based on what they were previewing us. So, like, I expected that, but that also means I do think the variety is going to run out. It's 3 levels, so you're getting a full like 2-3 hour experience out of the game. So I think the enemy variety is what's going to be the problem with this game, where you're going to be like, okay, well, I've seen everything I need to see after like 3 levels. Like I don't need more than that, because you're still doing the same thing. You have no reason to do other stuff. You have no reason to even switch guns, even though you totally can. You can pick up enemy guns if you wanted to, but your first main gun, your rapid fire pistol, is so powerful. Like it throws them back when you like shoot them. It's amazing. One thing I didn't know about the game, other than it being a straight up narrative new Robocop story, like after every level you go back to the police station and you're talking to your boss and stuff. I didn't know that there was going to be a story element like that. I didn't know there was going to be upgrades too for Robocop and his gun. The gun stuff I don't think was in the demo like at all. Like it just said you didn't unlock this blueprint yet.
Also, there's blueprints. Okay.
Yeah, there's blueprints for your pistol, which is awesome. And cool. There's skill. There's like a tiny skill tree, so like very very light RPG stuff. Which I'm like, again, you're RoboCop. Why do you need this stuff? You're already like kind of immortal in a sense.
Imagine RoboCop needing to upgrade.
Yeah, I do love the vibes of the movie. Like they literally just lifted the score from the movie and put it in the game when you go into action scenes. And that's cool. Like, I mean, I just love that movie. So, I mean, it's paying homage to that in a great way, even using a lot of the same character face models for like your partner and your boss.
Yeah, this very much seems like a product of somebody. I mean, because I've seen parts of the RoboCop movies, but I don't think I've ever seen them in their entirety. So it doesn't
just the
like
first
resonate.
one is good enough. Like, I mean, just you don't need to further ruin the legacy by watching the other ones.
All right. Well,
so I don't have a connection to them, is what I'm trying to say. But
I'm interested in this game, and I'm interested in the sound too, because I remember playing the Game Boy game, and I looked this up this week. I've seen other people talking about it too.
Oh, okay.
I played the Game Boy RoboCop, and I remember that game being very kind of like standard Game Boy side-scrolling licensed game. It wasn't amazing. The gameplay wasn't anything great. It was actually pretty hard. But the music, this MIDI soundtrack, we need to do a whole segment on game soundtracks that have no business being this good, and there's so many of them out there where we could just talk. This is one of them. Check this out. If I can get this to work, tell me if you can hear this. It's a bop. I know it's MIDI, but
it's game.
Right, this is game.
Yeah, but back then you could feel it. You could feel it.
I have my headphones in. I'll give it over here. Look at this.
It sounds like
it has no business being a RoboCop movie. Isn't that good? Dude. Anyway, such a good little tune. Like I absolutely love it.
I really thought I died and went to hell for a minute. So thanks.
Yeah, Derek's favorite.
No, don't worry. Your
art form is like pixel graphics and MIDI soundtracks.
Yeah, whatever. You're playing Assassin's Creed anyway. Shut up.
Why don't you go to bed? Why don't you go to bed?
Are we playing Forza right now? Are you racing?
No, I'm playing Immortals.
Oh my God.
Immortals is great.
He's just playing a video game. All right, it's fine. We're
living up to the. Now we know for sure he's a legit gamer.
Now we know. That's
reputation will never be questioned.
Sure. All right. I'm gonna try that RoboCop demo. I'm curious about that game.
Yeah, it's only on Steam. I think it's not on any of the consoles, but so it's worth it for sure. And it's also you'll see jank. I should have led with that.
Yeah, it's a AA studio basically.
Yeah, and it very much feels that way. It's not like. What's another AA game I just mentioned? High on Life, where like this is a AA game. It should not look this good or feel this good to play. Like there's almost no jank in that game, and when there is, it's funny. Like it's
right.
In this game, it's like
there are double A. I'll put that in quotes. AA games.
Yeah.
That end up being like, well, this has no right to be this good. And I still think the Plague Tale games are both technically AA with their studio sizes. Maybe the second one got bigger, but the first one especially.
The second one got better. The bigger, but the first one.
The first one was like, hey, they really kind of were swinging above their batting average here with this game. I think. Okay. There's some TV shows that we got to touch on because there's so many of them that certainly bleed over into our interests. So there's Loki with Marvel. There's Ahsoka finished up its season. The Continental, which I know that Derek you've watched, Jeff you've watched, and then Wheel of Time wrapped up its second season. So if there's a way to do like quick hits on these, let's start Derek with the Continental. Let's start with that one because I know you watched it, and then Jeff can give his thoughts on it, and then we'll quick hit on the other ones. What did you guys think about Continental?
Did you get caught up because the final episode just dropped like yesterday? So
no, I'm not all caught up. I only watched the first 2 episodes. I'm gonna watch. You liked them
but didn't love it, right? Or no?
No, I like it. I'm not like it's amazing yet, but I haven't finished it. So, but overall, I think it's good. I like the tone. I'm interested in that world, so they didn't have to really sell me that hard on it, and they haven't done anything that's made me go, "This is stupid." So I've enjoyed what I've watched so far. Yeah, it's good.
Do you recommend it overall, Jeff, to John Wick fans?
I yes, and for people that like shows that have or movies, whatever, things that have a 60s vibe and pay homage to those things, and like
is it set in the 60s?
Yeah, like 60s, 50s.
Is it like 60s? The origin? This is like the origins,
or maybe 70s, maybe a little bit after the Civil Rights stuff.
As a young,
it's Winston's like origin story.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's how you're gonna get to see how he got the Continental.
Right.
Got it.
And how Chiron, Lance Reddick's character came to be his confidant.
Listen, it's got Mel Gibson in it, so it's an automatic 10.
Good Lord. I'm not going that far, but he is comically villainous in this show. It's
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson is on a long list of people that I don't like personally based on what I know of them. Yeah, but I enjoy their performances on screen. I just do.
Same. Yeah. They definitely typecast him in this role based on who they think he is as a person, and it works. It works wonderfully for this character. Yeah. Like he's such a shithead. He's
taken some good villain turns in the later parts of his career here. Yeah. He's like, all right, he's pretty good at being hateable.
Well, even as like a dirty
exactly.
Yeah.
Even as like a dirty cop in that one Dragged Across Concrete movie with Vince Vaughn.
Which was not a great movie. It was kind of a slow burn, but I kind of liked it.
Slow, yeah.
I kind of liked him in it.
Same. There's something about it that's like magnetic, even though it's just so slow. It's so brutal, painfully slow sometimes. But anyway, the Continentals, it's not going to wow anybody that's looking for the action of John Wick. There are some cool action scenes in it, I think. Especially in the episode 3 is like mostly action, which is really cool, and a lot of cool character reveals or story moments. So I think that's where it kind of succeeds, is like as a more of a character story focused thing than an action thing and a vibe thing, because it's like that whole 60s 70s vibe. It's just awesome. Like it's
when they nail it. I do like that time frame too. When
like the twins that have the weird hair in the thing that are assassins, bad guy assassins in it. It's like this is like Enter the Dragon type of villain stuff right here. It's just the imagery alone is like, this is so cartoonish. I love it. But it reminds
whenever
me
you
of
say like these deadly twins, I always think of the 2 assassin guys from Breaking Bad with their boots. It always zooms in on their boots when they show up.
The bald guys,
which they are kind of also, they're almost like anime villains. Like they really remind me of that, the way that they're caricatures and they don't talk. They kind of like look at each other and grunt. They never really talk.
They're never in a rush either. They're always kind of like, we're going to get to where we need to be. Yeah.
But anyway, sometimes certain shows, Breaking Bad's one of them, and it sounds like this one might be one too, you can kind of pull off that cheesy over the top villain if you do it right, or that scary. It's a scary monster in the form of a human. I don't know. It's
I think Mel fit pretty well in there. Like sometimes he's not matching the energy of the other actors in the scene, and you're like, okay, this is weird. But he's always going for something that's true to his character. It's such a weird analysis, very specific analysis. But I like
lines he drops every once in a while. He doesn't say a lot. It's not like he talks a lot. Right. It's just when he talks, he's usually threatening somebody or saying something very mean, but with like a calm, like very gangster voice. Like he's not mad, but then he clearly is mad because he's not saying nice things.
Yeah, the calmer he is, the more malicious he's about to do something. Like the more violent his act is about to be if he's calm.
All right.
It's fun though. It's on Peacock. It's on so go watch that. 3 episodes and they're like 90 minutes each.
Yeah, I might give that a
whirl. So it just feels like a really long movie, but it doesn't take that long to get through.
Exactly.
Okay. And then one that finished up recently, which no one has complained about, is Wheel of Time season 2. Now
this is a surprise, actually. Yeah.
this is one that my wife and I kind of have on our watch list, and now that there's 2 seasons of it completed, we just need to get in there and start binging it. I think we'll really enjoy it.
I think so.
I only barely vaguely remember some elements from the book that I think I had read to me when I was really little. Like,
oh my
I
gosh.
just have these like, it's a very small little memory pieces of like, yeah, I think I remember that piece from the, but overall I could not tell you the plot. So like, I feel like I can go in here pretty fresh and not be the that's not how the book did it guy.
Yeah, and I am, as I was explaining to you guys in the chat, I'm not a book guy, period. If I could help it, I'd never read a book in my life ever again. Yeah. Harry Potter was the peak, and that's it. That's all I want. But so like, I don't have any baggage to go in to compare this against, like, at all. Like,
but you've enjoyed it, haven't you?
Yeah, like, yeah, I even enjoyed season 1, which most of the internet was book readers and just general viewers alike that were not book readers were like, something's off with the show. Like, I was just not feeling it. But I actually really enjoyed season 1, and I thought it had a cool cliffhanger. And season 2 is like, it is significantly up the ante for me. Like, it's
that's awesome.
And it's not only just me, but apparently people were changing their minds on like the television subreddit, for example. That one is the one that's like pretty harsh on most TV shows. And this season of Wheel of Time, most of them have turned around on and been like, dude, guys, this is actually really good TV now.
People admitted they were wrong. Shocking.
Yeah, I know.
Shocking.
Yeah. No, they didn't do that. They basically said,
I was gonna say they're not gonna say they're not gonna say they were wrong. They're just gonna say, oh, it's a little bit better.
They fixed it. They fixed it a little bit.
They fixed what I said was wrong.
They took what I said from
they took my notes.
1.
Yeah, they were in my bedroom with me.
Oh my
listening to my notes.
All right, well, I'm interested in this one, so we'll check this one out. I'm also planning on, now that it's over, I'm gonna do a Dan and wait. I was waiting for it to finish, and I'm absolutely going to. Disney Plus has added an Ahsoka Tano like playlist, basically, where you can kind of like catch up on her story through their various animated shows, and then get into that. So I'm planning on doing that, just to get some piece. I know it's not gonna be all of it. Purists are gonna be like, you have to watch the entire series. I'm like, I'm not gonna.
You don't though.
So I'm gonna watch.
Kyle will tell us that. Like,
I'm gonna watch their playlist. I'm just gonna be like, all right, Disney Plus, take me on this journey through this Ahsoka Tano story, and then jump into the show, because I've heard nothing but good things,
dude.
And it sounds like the finale was also amazing.
Yes, it was incredible. And they wrapped everything up. And now even the main bad guy said, you have Ward on your last star. And they rolled credits. And it was, it's the end of Star Wars as we know it. No, I'm kidding. Wouldn't that be something if we literally, that was it?
The war is over? The Star War is over?
Now it's Star Trek going forward.
Now we're trekking.
Star Boar.
Right. I'm not going to say a whole lot because I really want Kyle to come back and explain a lot of stuff that, I don't know, makes this show great from his perspective. But I mean, for me, it's I have no other than what Ahsoka has done in Mandalorian, what she's done in that show.
Yeah.
I have no freaking clue about any of. I saw like 3 seasons of Clone Wars, and they were great. I was just like, I kind of want to go do other stuff now. Like, I was just kind of in the mood to do something else, like to whether it was binge something else or play a different video game at the time. And that was like 2021 when I stopped that binge.
Okay.
So it's a really good show, and it's a good place to get to know Ahsoka and stuff like that. But those are procedural shows for the most part. So I can see why doing something like a playlist where you only need to watch essential episodes makes a lot more sense for her character arc. But anyway, the show is great for even noobs like me that have no. Like, I knew who she was. I knew her relationship with Anakin starting out.
Yeah. That's the key thing to know. But there's other characters who are essential to this series that I haven't been introduced to yet. I've seen their names
from Rebels.
That I'm like, all right, I need to at least get a summary of some of these people.
It's a big deal because like the main 3 women in the show, I'm already blanking on her name, and Kyle would chastise me for that probably.
I think he's just happy you're into it, to be honest.
But like, I know Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That's true. Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays this character Hera, who was in Rebels. She's like a general now. Like, she's hot shit in the military on the Rebels, on the Rebel Rebellion or whatever. And this takes place shortly after the Empire has fallen. So I mean, there's still remnants of an empire out there, and shady characters and actors. And then there's the Mandalorian girl. Dang it! Nope. No, this is another girl from Rebels. she's basically the lead of the show in my opinion, because she's the one that has like a beginning.
Oh, the one that Obi-Wan has a love thing with in the cartoon. Oh,
well, then actually, I don't know. I don't. No. She's too young for Obi-Wan. Sabine Wren. That's who I'm thinking of. She's like a Mandalorian warrior and whatever. But yeah, everybody, like all the characters are just so well written, and like the cinematography is just insane for a show like that's. I don't know. I just struggled with.
It's Satine, who he loves in the show.
Oh, so it's close. Satin. The name is close.
Satin.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
satin. Yeah. He wears a satin dress.
But I had that moment where I was like, I thought that I was right. No, Sabine and Satine, different.
Yeah, totally different, bro.
Totally different. My bad.
I had a struggle connecting with Mandalorian, like season 3, for example.
Me too, because I loved the first 2 seasons so much.
Yes, yeah, and I just cinematically and like story wise and the characters, I was just like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka, just like, I don't know, man, it just sucked me in and showed me a good time. And
I bet it did.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Say no more. For real, say no more.
Are you waiting for Dan to chime in there?
I'm excited to watch this one. I'm looking forward to it.
And I think you'll like it.
Speaking of shows that I'm looking forward to, like as Marvel launched into their TV show, you might say it's been an overkill. And I don't disagree with that. There's probably been too many, but there's been some that are really great. I still think WandaVision was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Loki season 1, and it sounds like at least the beginning of season 2 gives us good reason to expect more of that greatness with season 2 from the premiere, which is a 2-episode premiere, I think, right?
Just one.
Oh, just one? Okay.
Because it's 6 episodes, I think that's why they're spacing it out.
Okay, got it.
But it's it's a full hour, and it is a ride and a half, bro. It is they pick up right where they left off, and they kind of resolve a major problem that stems from the cliffhanger and stuff. Like they kind of address something that I thought would take a whole season to figure out. And I'm kind of glad that they got it out of the way. You know what I mean? Like now I feel like, okay, now we can get to the meat of, the whole Kang thing. Like we can get to that,
Do I have to see Ant-Man before watching this?
I don't think so. There's a post-credit scene involving Loki season 2. And I think it's just a clip from the show. Like, so I think we'll eventually just see it from the Loki show
in one of the episodes, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But from the start, it was I thought it was great, and it especially helped reading, like less than half of critics that I follow were like, that's okay. So I kind of already went in with lukewarm expectations after Secret Invasion. So it had more room to kind of blow me away a little bit. And Kihui Kwan is a new character in it, the guy who was in Everything Ever All at Once, and he was Short Round.
Oh yeah.
So he's in this, and he's a new character, and he is so freaking great and has such great. He like fits in perfectly with Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson's chemistry. Like,
oh, love it.
You know how they have such natural chemistry? Like
they're great.
Yeah, like he just fits right in, like a glove. It's great. And Raphael Casal from like Blind Spotting, who I freaking love. I love that movie so much, and the show that was unfortunately canceled. Boo, Stars canceling everything. If you're gonna be a show, don't go to Stars. You're gonna get canceled every time. Every single time.
And it stars with a Z. Don't watch it. Don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's first off, big mistake. It's like watching a show on Sci-Fi. Don't do it. It's spelled Skiffy. It's weird.
Skiffy.
Siffy. I love it so far. Can't wait for more.
All right. Good.
I'm sure it'll be super convoluted. It was very convoluted, but like in a playful way where you're not feeling lost. You're just kind of like, all right, I guess.
All right, let's do this.
I'm
Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. I'm big fans of both those guys. So
they're so good together. I did not expect that on paper.
I remember when the first season of Loki came out, I went in with a lot of skepticism, which probably helped me enjoy it a lot more because I was like, I'm probably not going to like this. This sounds like a dumb concept. Oh, okay, I do like this a lot. This is a lot of fun.
There's something about the vibes of the show too, where the set design, the cinematography, and how it feels like a retro futuristic type
almost
of set.
Umbrella Academy a little bit. It's interesting.
There's something about it that's like this. Is this in the future or the past? And obviously
70s future.
In a way. And they kept those vibes even with like some new directors. Like they actually brought directors over from Moon Knight who were great. to direct most of the season of Loki this season. And they kept the vibes. The vibes are all there.
You know, a game that nailed that in recent memory was Deathloop. Kind of nailed that modern but 70s vibe.
Yeah, dude, I love when games do that. Yeah. Or anything really does that. Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's get into some news, some headlines. There's some interesting ones this week. Let's see what you guys think. The first one is one that I just saw today. Is the Switch? I don't know about other consoles. Is getting a physical release for the 7-game Star Wars bundle. So for $60, you get Republic Commando, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, Force Unleashed, Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and Star Wars Racer. So you get those 7 games for $60. Pretty good deal. Yeah. Now, I would recommend, for the most part, if you have a PC that can play those games, that's probably a better place to get them, and that kind of thing. But also, these games, I assume they're old enough that they'll work just fine on the Switch. So I'm sure the Switch isn't a bad place to play those either. But on the other hand, if you don't want to support Embracer Group, I'm pretty sure Aspire is owned by them, and that's the ones putting this game out. So depends on if you're anti-embracing or whatever.
Yeah, don't embrace Embracer, guys.
Don't embrace them. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So that'll be coming out in December. I think it's December 8th for that. Bethesda has updated Redfall. Get excited. All right.
Derek, you can finally jump back in, man. Redfall.
That's right.
Jump back in. New game plus. Get on my level.
You could be like the 6th person playing that, because they got some what was that other game that had like 3 people?
I am the 4 people playing it. I'm logged into my 2 Steam accounts and my Xbox.
You're trying to beef up those numbers. You're trying to beef them up.
You gotta pump up.
I'm like texting Eli every day. Please log into Redfall.
They are legitimately rookie numbers. So we'll talk about that in a second too. But they updated Redfall with 60 FPS mode, gameplay changes. I don't know what that means, and more. Let's see here. What is it? What do they say? Stealth takedowns, new controller settings, performance.
It sounds
mode.
like it's a pretty significant change. I actually do want to check it out, because again, I've said this. I clearly bashed the game, but I also beat it because I had fun.
You played it a lot.
I played a hell of a lot of it. Yeah. So it's a fun game. It's just objectively bad, but I do trust that they could fix it and make it interesting. So maybe they will. I don't know.
It sounds like a lot of UI stuff too. Like they've made better indicators that weapons are silenced or not. They've improved performance to hero abilities and the way they trigger. A lot of times they wouldn't trigger properly. That was a big part of the complaints too, is that things just aren't working the way they're supposed to for some people. Player navigation and collision. A lot of this is very broad. Like it almost sounds like massive development stuff. Like, yeah, we kind of fixed things that should have been working. It's what a lot of this sounds like.
That's exactly what it is. That's why objectively it was bad. There was just stuff that wasn't good.
Yeah.
That should have been like in the original release, and that's why I think, wasn't it the main dude was like trying to get Xbox to cancel it? Like,
that's what I heard. That's the rumor.
It shouldn't come out, man. This is not a good game.
Even they were like, we shouldn't really be doing this. This is not like our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are even improving like the default aim assist and dead zone tuning, so people can further customize those kind of settings. Anyway, lots of other stuff, lots of combat improvements. There's too much to list here.
I'll download it and check it out, and then update you guys, since you guys are not interested, but I'll still do it.
Thank you.
I think this game, there might be 1 or 2 others along with it. Maybe Gollum. These games are requiring me to bring back the TGT Game of the Year award. So we need to bring that back.
I think
this
we
year.
should.
I'm so on board with that.
We've been trying to keep it P, which means keep it positive, folks. And so we're trying to keep it P, but sometimes
I bet you that's what the P is.
Sometimes you need a little bit of negative. All right.
Well, this year has been pretty P, and you got to throw in some T in there.
There's been lots of P, lies of P, lots of it.
Don't listen to the lies of P. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, that demo apparently has been appearing at Switch retail kiosks, like at Walmart, Target, Best Buy, elsewhere, which I never go in those stores, to be honest with you. And if I do, it's just to pick up. It's just to pick up
for
something.
Trash. We're not trash, bro.
I'll swing through to like grab something from grocery, but I rarely.
Oh, I'll let them bring their groceries to my house.
Oh, I see.
Or to my car.
Yeah,
but I will not go into their store.
Right.
But
I
rarely,
feel
like
gross.
it used to be a normal thing where like my wife and I would have, even if it's a date night or something, we'd end the night like, hey, let's go by Walmart. We got to pick up a bunch of stuff. So it would be pretty regular that she'd go through and start getting stuff on the list, and I'd wander back to the electronics section and look around. Right. Sure. That's a pretty regular thing, but I don't think I've done that probably in a couple of years.
Ours was always Target because it like I think Target knows this. Like Target's like we can sell things at higher prices because people just come to us because we're clean. That's why they come to us.
They're cleaner Walmart.
They are. They're a cleaner Walmart, and they're generally more expensive.
So true though.
I mean, you walk into a Walmart and you're immediately hit with the smell of like, why am I here? Like
it's just the people. Well, I'm imagining this isn't just a Florida thing, but every time I go into a Walmart, I'm like, where the fuck did you guys come from? Like, there's just legitimately people walking around in pajamas. They just look gross. There's fat rolls coming out of everywhere, and they're just showing them off. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah,
and it doesn't even matter the time. It's not like, oh, that must be the 3 a.m. crowd.
Right.
No.
This is like 2 p.m. on a Saturday.
This is the whenever the hell they want to go crowd.
But if you do happen to go late to one that's open till late, like I remember going like at 11 something.
Those people
not only are they interesting, but like then you'll also see like families with 3 kids under the age of 3, and I'm like, why are your children out here with you at 11 p.m. or later?
I will never. This isn't Walmart, but I will never forget the time when I was driving by a Church's Chicken, and there was literally a black woman, an overweight black woman, with a towel wrapped around her in a shower going to Church's Chicken to pick up her chicken.
Stop it.
It was in the ghetto, but it was awesome. I was like, oh my gosh.
I like that.
Crazy.
She's busy, man.
She's like, I ain't got time to put clothes on.
I don't have time for this.
I need my Church's Chicken right now.
What do you want?
My chicken can't get lukewarm while I'm putting my clothes on.
That is true. That is true.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, Super Mario Brothers Wonder demo is out.
That's too much.
At retail kiosks. The question
Super Mario Brothers Wonder whatever Church's Chicken.
I do
how did we get there?
That was the 7 degrees of something.
How did we get there?
But I do wonder if that demo will arrive on Switch, or they'll just release it and trust the name of Mario to land without any issues. But
did they release? I feel like they released an Odyssey demo. Did they?
I don't know. But they might have.
I bet you we could Google it. I bet.
For their other side scrollers, like
Google's down for everybody everywhere right now, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way for us to find out. Do you guys remember I think it was during the State of
Bing's
Play.
like, please use us. Google's down, use us.
They're literally suing them for being a better search engine.
Nope, I'm not. Nope, Bing, I'm not gonna add you as my home main one.
Please Bing us.
Stop.
Please Bing me.
Leave me alone.
Kind of forgot about Bing, to be honest.
I will use it.
Microsoft is now suing you for saying that.
Yeah, because they give me Xbox rewards, so I'll use it sometimes. But I always forget to, like Dan says, I always forget about it. I always go to Google.
Yeah. Do you guys remember this game Teardown? It was revealed, I think, during a State of Play. It kind of looked like Minecraft, but everything was destructible. So it has that voxel look to it.
It was at the Xbox show.
So I didn't
was
know.
It Xbox?
Yeah.
Because it's coming to PlayStation Plus day one. I thought it was Sony too.
Okay.
I thought it was Sony. But
I thought it was shown at Xbox, but I guess okay.
I didn't know it was a heist game until much later. Like the gameplay that we saw during a showcase was just like, oh, everything's destructible. Okay, cool.
Destroy it all.
But to what means? Like, why are we doing this? And apparently it's for heist reasons.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's coming to both consoles and PC. It's already out on PC apparently, and people like it. They're enjoying it there. I don't know where exactly. Maybe it's on Steam. I haven't looked, and there's no way to know. But the PlayStation 5 version you'll be able to get if you have a PS Plus, whatever tier, because it's gonna be day one. They don't get a whole lot of those, but I don't see that it's on Game Pass, which is interesting because the Game Pass is usually the service.
Suck it, Xbox.
Yeah,
another W for Sony.
So yeah,
it was shown, I guess, at a PlayStation showcase. I swore it was at maybe they did show it at Xbox after because it's coming to both. But
yeah, they might have.
Yeah,
but I'm intrigued by this in a sense that I think it's going to be cheap, and whatever, like a palate cleanser type game, because I think it's November or something like that, right?
If the destruction, like, if it feels good, if it like works well, that's the kind of thing that I'd be like, all right, I'll play this for 20, 30 minutes, like just to blow things up for a little while, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things that no one's asking for.
No, speaking of another W, Tim. All right.
Another W? Are you sure about
Jimmy
that?
Ryan.
Things that no one is asking for.
Yeah, that's my boy. You might be leaving, but you're never leaving me, buddy.
This is him as the news about Last of Us 2 Remastered starts to leak out, and that's him laughing right now.
I'm releasing that, man.
He's laughing because he knows he make a lot of money. So this was listed on a Naughty Dog dev's LinkedIn. Oopsie. Last of Us 2 Remastered. Listen, we have made fun of on the show people who whine about that's a waste of resources. We have.
Sure.
But right now, I feel like one of those people who's just like, what is Naughty Dog doing? Why would you do this? Game just came out in 2020. It already has PS5 upgrades to it, and it's gorgeous, and it runs buttery smooth. What are you doing? Make another Uncharted, make a new Last of Us, make a new IP, do anything else. I don't understand this one.
Are they actually doing it? Or is it another group? And
did
just
they
Naughty
do the first
Dog?
One?
I don't. Yeah, they did. No, I feel like they had maybe part of their team.
Did they do part one remastered?
They did.
I thought it was part of their team, but then there was another group that was.
Well, the other group was supposed to be working on the factions or whatever that is that's falling apart as well, apparently. Okay. So, that the multiplayer game is apparently, according to multiple insider rumors, don't know if this is true, but apparently a lot of sources have said.
This is what Jimmy needs to do right here.
With the cover up the mouth with the VR.
I mean, if he's covering his eyes and his mouth, he's gonna be like, he can't do anything.
That picture is so disturbing.
I know.
It is. It's like Mortal Kombat. Real. It's Mortal Kombat.
It's right? Bane.
Yes.
But yeah, there's been lots of rumors about the multiplayer game also kind of hitting some snags, maybe even being totally put on ice at the moment, slowed down. Who knows what actually is happening? But it does not sound great. And listen,
I don't really care about that game.
They have yet to prove us wrong in terms of expecting high quality from them. I think Naughty Dog always delivers, but we haven't heard anything from them, and now we're over 3 years that we've had, other than a remake or whatever, a remaster. I'm sorry, I don't think that counts. I mean, in that same amount of time, Insomniac put out a remaster, but they also put out Miles Morales, and they're about to launch Spider-Man 2. What is Naughty Dog doing? So I don't understand. I don't understand how they're doing nothing.
Well, when we get Spider-Man 2, we'll realize that they literally just copy and paste.
Yeah,
probably same game.
Sure.
And just added 2 hours of content.
Yeah,
animations are all the same. Takedown, even for Venom, is all the same. He's just using a growl.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Listen, for the most part, every company, especially if they're successful, do what you want to do. That's fine. But this one really annoys me for some reason. I think it's just because I really like their games. I really want more. I want Uncharted. I want more Last of Us.
I'm the only one that won't be upset by this. Like, you won't see me outraged because I'm like, that means there's going to be a PC version of this. And those 2 games, The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, are 2 of my favorites of all time.
I'm not saying I don't want a PC version.
No, I know. I'm just saying,
been
like,
3 years
I
since
won't
this game
get
released.
outraged because I'm like, I like it. I like it.
Well, so hold on. The updates that they've done for Part 2, though, I thought there was something missing, wasn't it? That
all
there wasn't 4K,
was,
there is 30, or the other way around.
No, all they did was, I think, up-res it to 60 frames per second. I don't think they touched graphics or anything.
So no
like
4K.
That.
Okay.
No.
So just do that then. Like, what, like, why is this
Give
even...
it a PS.
I think
PS5
they're gonna
upgrade.
do. Yeah. I think they're just gonna do what they did with Part 1 to Part 2, and then they're gonna sell it on PC too.
But this is like a rumor thing.
Part 1 on PS5. Didn't you have to pay for it?
It was like, wasn't? No, yeah, it was. Yeah, I had to pay the full amount. Yeah, it wasn't an upgrade.
That's garbage, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I know you're trying to be Mr. like calm. Like, this is fine. That's garbage to charge people full amount for a slight upgrade.
No, PS5. I thought the Part 1 price was stupid. I never thought that was good.
Yeah.
That was. I get what they did. They did put a lot of work in it, but $70, and especially for somebody like me who's already bought the game, like, I shouldn't have to pay $70.
The remaster is also not ugly. Like, it's still is like nice, you know, like it's not an ugly game by any means. Like
they are literally Skyriming these games. That's what they're doing.
It's a Skyrim job.
Skyriming.
They're just like
it's a Skyrim job.
Every time we launch anything, we're like whenever they release like PlayStation 5.5, they'll be like, oh, guess what? Last of Us Part 1.5 is coming out. It's going to have extra ray tracing. It's going to have 5K instead of 4K. It's only $70. Wait, what if I already own it? It's still only $70.
We're going to send a clicker to your house. He's going to eat your face.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah,
totally fine, guys.
All right, so the Naughty Dog studio, as of July, has over 400 employees.
Okay.
So that's not the biggest studio that's out there.
Every single one of them is working on a remaster for last.
I'm pretty sure they do have other like groups that work on like the older stuff. So they're probably working on
contractors.
2 or 3 games. Yeah, they're probably working on 2 or 3 games right now.
But this isn't like an official thing, though, right? Isn't this just something somebody saw on LinkedIn as
But I mean, it totally has to be official. Like they're gonna release something with Part 2
for PS5 and PC.
Probably with Season 2 of the show, and it's gonna be for PS5 and PC.
It just seems silly to me. Release a PC version as a thing. That's great, but like it should just be an upgrade for for PS5. Like,
yeah, I agree. But they're gonna add ray tracing and all that for PC. Why not add it to the PS5? And if you're gonna add it to the PS5, they're gonna say that's justified to charge you $70.
I mean, how much better could it really? Like that game looks amazing. Like Part 2 is like holy crap.
It's
like
gorgeous. Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not saying this shouldn't come out on PC. I love it when Sony puts their games on PC. They should do that with all their games. Totally think that. Absolutely. What I am saying is the idea of them spending time and resources on this when it's been 3 years and they still have yet to even hint at new projects. It's just kind of frustrating as a fan because I want more from them because I like the stuff that they make. That's all it is. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. I think charging PS5 owners, again, is ridiculous, but what are you gonna do? People got to make their money. Nintendo does it. I haven't seen Microsoft do it as much. They're a little more gamer friendly when it comes to some of that upgrade stuff, but Nintendo
because they don't got any games. What are you gonna re-release? They don't got any good games.
Exactly.
Dude,
Dice Man, hey, Little Miss
Redfall remake.
That's how every pony sounds, okay?
Hey, they all sound like the Dice Man. Yeah.
Nintendo is worse than anybody else at this. They do that Nintendo tax, and they'll barely improve a thing or bundle it and then charge you.
Or just release it as is. Yeah. Like
or just release it as is.
Yeah.
So
guys,
I'm not.
Tears of the
a lot
Kingdom.
of companies do this.
We're up-resing it from 720p to get this 1080p.
Oh wow.
$70, guys. $70. But I already bought it. Give me another $70. And you know what? We'll all do it. We'll be like, yeah, 1080p. Yeah, we'll do it.
Sure.
They do 4K. They can have $140 if they do 4K.
There you go. Yeah, that's how math.
That's the sweet. That's the sweet spot
math,
for Derek. Derek here is 4K. He has a semi. He gets a semi.
Switch to 4K. Tears of the Kingdom. Hell yeah, I'll pay $140.
He's like that Vince McMahon meme where his reaction gets comically bigger.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, with every
8K, he falls over the chair.
Yeah. That meme it works for almost everything.
It does.
In sadder news,
hi Jimmy.
Layoffs across the industry are just crazy. I mean, we talked about Epic already last week. I think we talked about some of these other ones, but we know that speaking of Naughty Dog, thankfully it was primarily contract workers who don't necessarily expect long-term employment when you enter into a contract. So I don't think it's quite as devastating, although I'm sure still disappointing. And mostly it sounded like, if I remember correctly, more like QA staff for specific projects that might be tied into certain things that are now completed and they don't need. So I don't think that's necessarily a horrible sign, but it feels like it's piling on and already layoff heavy time in the industry. So you got Epic Games, that's the biggest one, like as we talked about last week, like 900 people or 800 something people.
Well, they don't make any money. So
Telltale apparently in early September, a bunch of people from Telltale were let go.
Yeah,
Wolf Among Us 2 is still in Wolf Among Us 2 is officially still in development, but people who have worked there, who have left, are saying like, I have an NDA, so I can't really speak to the status of that game. And it's like, that doesn't sound good. Whatever that means. That was.
He was like, all I can say
but that
is
could be
all of most of us were let go, and I was like, most.
But it could mean that hey, it's almost done. That's why we're.
It could also be that's like an ex-girlfriend's take. Like she's not going to be like, well, you know,
ex-employee take where it's like most, and it's like I think you just mean everybody you know, like or most people you know personally, but not everybody that's working on it. I don't know.
Telltale was taken out back and shot already once. Now we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, we can't old Yeller to this.
Does anybody know how The Expanse did though?
I don't. I haven't seen any numbers. I don't know that this is a publicly traded company or anything either, so I'm not sure that we'll see any.
But the fact that this happened like a month after The Expanse came out does make me wonder.
You didn't have the numbers for him, so he's like, I'm out.
You know what? I'm done.
Derek, are you still there?
I was here for Telltale numbers.
I'm here, but I accidentally hit my camera.
Okay.
Your blanket fell off and it edited you.
Make sure you have pants on.
That's what happened. Yeah.
He forgot he didn't have pants on. So.
And then one of Sega's studios, Creative Assembly, they recently canceled Hyenas, this multiplayer shooter that I had no interest in anyway, so it's not sad to me. But apparently that, along with other unannounced projects, recently got canceled, and there were some layoffs.
I totally forgot about Hyenas, by the way, until you mentioned it, and then I had to look it up and be like, oh yeah, this is the one I rolled my eyes at. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
It's similar to all these other service games. Like there's even that that isn't that Jade Raymond game also like I forget what that one's called. Anyway.
Oh, this is ringing a bell, yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, the Jade Raymond one was multiplayer looter shooter type.
That was like a heist one or something. Anyway.
Please stop making games like this.
I know.
Knock it off.
Stop. Yeah.
But we have a colorful cast.
It's the new NFT of the industry.
Yeah, I'm sure your characters are varied, and I bet you each one of them is a different class, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, never seen that before.
Please stop doing this. Please just make more foam stars. That's all we really want.
Yes. Fill me with more foam.
Well, hold on. It's actually really fun. Okay.
Hey guys, the word on the street.
I mean, it's previewing pretty well. It's previewing pretty
more
well.
like fun stars.
It's everything Splatoon wishes it could be. All right, so Cities Skylines 2 has been delayed.
There you go.
Has been delayed on consoles only till the next spring. It still hit PC on the 24th.
I bet this is a pretty demanding game on PC, and they're like, okay, we got to have more time on the consoles. Good Lord.
Yeah. And also, like, when you do any kind of city builder strategy game, kind of God mode game on console, it's a challenge, right? It's always a challenge to do that.
True.
Well. So anyway, the PC version is still coming out here in a couple weeks. A couple of CD Projekt Red pieces of news I thought were interesting. So they are going to further collaborate, at least they hinted at this, with the company Studio Trigger, who of course was the studio behind Edgerunners.
In that amazing movie that Dan mentions, Promarty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Forgot about that.
Great movie.
And this also includes, they have big plans for expanding the franchise beyond the development of the sequel, which they're calling Project Orion. But this includes a live action project based on Cyberpunk 2077 that's currently in early stages of development. That'd be pretty nuts to do a live action.
Project Jimmy Ryan? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Project Jimmy Ryan.
Is that where he's going? Is that why
he's ascending to becoming the ultimate AI?
Yeah, he's in the black wall.
Literally becoming a net runner.
That's why he's got the VR.
That's why he put the VR on his mouth. He put it on his mouth.
God damn it, Jimmy. You son of a bitch. Like, I just thought you were the boringest person in the world, and you're actually the coolest guy ever.
He put that thing on his mouth. He's like, am I net running right now? Is this net running?
I'm net running.
They're working with, CDPR is working with Anonymous Content on this, who is an entertainment company that they've worked on, like,
for the live action
Robot, and they've worked on, for the live action thing.
Dude, I hope
they've worked on like they're working on a Life is Strange show. I didn't know that. Okay. And whatever. They have a pedigree, that's my point. Maniac, great show, the OA.
So they have plans with Studio Trigger for more animated stuff, probably, and it plans with this other group for some live action stuff potentially. Hey, that's great. as long as they don't, again, CDPR has the tendency to do this sometimes, a little bit overextend themselves and then kind of forget to keep their core thing.
I think
super high quality. So
I think this is just a prediction. I don't know details, obviously, but I think they're just going to do what they did for Edgerunners, which is kind of just
hand it over.
They were hands off. Yeah. They were very hands off and just like, we pay you a little bit, but we reap most of the benefit because it's our property. So
you go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know they said that there's not going to be a second season of Edgerunners, but now I really want Jimmy being the main protagonist of a second season.
I really bit of cyberware upside down, like he's got the shittiest Ripper Doc.
He's Jimmy Smasher, and he comes in a big Smasher outfit.
Jimmy Smasher.
He's one of the gonk guys that everybody talks. He's a right gonk in the head. Yeah.
He's a Ripper Doc. That'd be funny as Jimmy as your Ripper Doc, and he's sitting there wearing the thing on his mouth. Oh my gosh!
Those are BD goggles on your mouth.
All the Ripper Docs, like they change their hands and look all crazy, but his is just the 2 VR handles. He's like, let's do this. Like, what are you doing, Jimmy?
A real doctor soon, or
there's also confirmed plans for a complete edition of Cyberpunk 2077. No other details yet, but that makes sense. Of course, you put out a major DLC, major expansion. That's your last really only planned major expansion. It makes sense that early in 2024 we'll probably see some sort of complete edition for all consoles.
Plus they never released a physical edition on PS5 and stuff like that. You have the PS4, but I think it would be cool to have the case PS5
and complete edition with the Phantom Liberty stuff and modern consoles only, probably
like a Game of the Year type edition thing. But also physical, like Derek was saying. I think there was something I was gonna say. It was right on the tip of my tongue.
Some kind of collectible with Cyberpunk would be awesome too.
Wieners, big wieners is what I was gonna say.
The biggest.
Some kind of collectible, like if they did a collector's edition or something, would be pretty cool. I think that would sell really well because people just love this universe that they've created.
It's okay.
Kyle hates it, but
I know he does. Here.
Right. He just left a comment in the group about finishing the expansion, and he definitely said it was his least favorite expansion of all time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more annoyed that he's like, oh, I finished it while I should be recording a show. So he chose to play over work.
Hey,
no,
he's sick.
He called out sick. Bullshit.
That's not okay. All right.
You're playing a game while we record, so you be quiet. All right, so
back to my game. Folks.
Back to my game. Let me just turn sideways.
The most random game to turn on at this moment.
He's recording a podcast like this.
You're being a real gonk right now. That's what you're doing. You're being a real gonk.
You're not being choomy.
Next YouTube commented is that guy wearing a blanket and playing a game? Why is he on this podcast? What is he doing?
Beat up cars, driving around like a dope.
And then
as soon as I started playing that Robocop Game Boy music, Derek was like,
He moved to Robocop. Corporation. Yeah.
Speaking of retro stuff, there's a Boy in His Blob retro collection coming out next week.
Derek's all over this. He knows exactly what Boy in His Blob is.
I actually know what it is, and I hate it.
They're like little puzzle games that I remember playing back on the Nintendo. My cousin had this game, and then I remember playing it on the Game Boy as well. And then they did like a modernized version of it. I want to say it was for Xbox Arcade or Wii, maybe. Yeah, Wii.
Yeah, it was on the Wii. It was definitely on the Wii.
It's fun. Yeah, I mean it's a puzzle game. It's not gonna be for everybody, but it's a side-scrolling puzzle game. Super charming little visuals. But this is not that. This is the NES game and the Game Boy game in a retro thing. It's only $10. So anyway.
Oh well, then there you go.
That's what retro games should be. And I think this is limited run games. They keep bringing out all kinds of old school collections. They're trying to keep games from disappearing forever, and I appreciate that they're doing that. Which, by the way, I think the Jurassic Park collection is supposed to hit sometime this month too. All right, let's wrap things up with what we are currently playing. You guys just mentioned Edgerunners, so I'll just kick it off saying that I binged through Edgerunners in one day.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It's that
nothing,
good, dude.
Nothing
really
was
is.
accomplished that day.
I could not stop. Though, too.
The episodes just fly by. As the credits hit, I was like, well, I can't not watch the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
So I just flew through it. It is insanely violent and not appropriate for children, but it is so well made and well written. And I mean, I can see why people were like, hey, either this one or Arcane needs to win an award or both need to win awards because they're so good, and I totally agree with that. It's really high quality.
Good Trigger is great. Like their style is like really just eye popping. Like
they nailed it. Had great style, great music selection throughout. Like the soundtrack, every once in a while would just come out of left field with like, what song are they playing and why is it perfect right now?
Yeah.
In the game, you will stumble upon I don't know if it's on your map or not, but I was just walking around the city and I found a brain dance, and it was footage from the show.
No way.
And it was cool. Eventually you text somebody asking for information, whatever. The point is that the mission gets you David's jacket, and I've been wearing it ever since. And that's the yellow one that like.
I mean, you can't see it, but that's cool that you have it.
LCD.
Can't see it.
Yeah, if I look down,
on
riding a motorcycle.
Riding a motorcycle. Yeah,
riding a motorcycle.
I do ride a motorcycle a lot. I got the one from I'm pretty sure there's a cover art or something, a wallpaper of V on a motorcycle. I got that motorcycle. I love driving that around.
Yeah. So that was it's a really excellent show. Trying to think if there's anything else of significance that I've been playing that I haven't already talked about. I think I've talked a lot about playing through Tears of the Kingdom. I'm on the actual last kind of major dungeon. That game has kind of like these 4 locations to go to, and then it feels like you're heading to the final confrontation, which actually leads into, hey, go to an actual 5th thing, which is really cool. And that one's awesome. Like they're all really fun. Like it's just amazing game. So I'm really enjoying that. And I think that's pretty much it. That's the show that I watched. That's the main game I've been playing outside of the new stuff we've already talked about. I spent a lot of time playing Assassin's Creed and some of these other things this week. So yeah. What about you, Jeff? Watching other crickets?
Well, the reason I wasn't able to convince myself, let's put it that way, to put more time into Mirage is because I am just obsessively playing Cyberpunk right now. Like it's the loop is just dangerous in that game where same thing happened to me at launch once I finally got it on a stable platform, which was PC at the time. I've already gone over it. I've had so many problems on the console at launch. Anyway, but the point is that once I got in the hang of like checking things off the mission list, and now there's a new way of like respecing your perks and stuff like that, which you can do however much you want.
Right.
And I do it all the time now because I get such better weapons that I'm like, well, now I got to respect my perk tree because I respect it. Literally like this morning, I respected all over to smart weapons, which was awesome for like 2 hours. And then I found these power weapons that were badass. And I was like, okay, well, gotta switch. And then I switched all the way over to that skill tree that allows you to, has like a super, not a super, it's a machine gun swap, basically, where you rapidly swap between machine guns, and as you're doing that, it auto reloads your other machine gun.
I've seen people on YouTube doing
and
that.
It's just super fast, dude. It's like you're a machine when you're doing that.
Robocop wishes he could do that.
He wishes. I just feel like I'm finally hitting a stride with this, and I'm unlocking all the abilities that I like kind of intended to unlock along the way, especially with the new format of how everything's spec'd out. Like there's a new relic skill tree in the expansion, and it allows you to there's already an optical camo in the game that you can equip in one of your cyberware slots, and it basically takes your grenade slot and it allows you to go 90% invisible to your enemies. Like if you're right up next to them, they'll see you, but if you're a little further away, they won't see you at all if you walk by for a few seconds. And the relic allows you to be 100% invisible and you can just dash out of combat if you have a dash ability.
Yeah.
And it'll just turn off combat. Like if you're not feeling it, I'm all about owning people to their face. I will like go right up to an enemy, dash right up to them, and just start macheting them right in the face.
Have you used the Lucy wire weapon? That looks interesting.
Monowire?
Yeah.
No. I have
that Lucy from the show uses. I mean,
it's meant for the Edgerunner build. Like it's recommended at least because it's from the show. But I just don't. I love the gunplay so much and the hacking that I barely pull out. Even the machete, like I only pull it out when I'm in a bind and I feel surrounded. So I'll just pull that out and dash. I have my dash perk unlocked to put me right in front of the enemy when I dash. So I dash right to the enemy and just machete them. And if that gets me out of a bind really quick. It's awesome, dude. I found something that I don't feel like was a mission marker at all or on the map. It was some type of stronghold with a boss at the end that was like in a mech outfit. And it took me like an hour to clear. And
you just found this?
Yeah. I found it after doing a mission, like a side quest involving a braindance celebrity. Totally separate. And then I saw this icon that was like 3 skulls, and I was like, "The hell is that?" So I just followed it, and the more I followed it, I was like, "Oh, there's like a lot of enemies in here."
Yeah, skulls means bad.
You guys gotta die.
And the first time I saw the main boss, he showed up, and like I got him to halfway health, and he was like, "I had enough of this," and he ran away, and I was like, oh, "That's a bitch move." And then I get to the end, and he's all mech'd out, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" It was amazing. It was a great reveal. It kind of threw me because cool. This was the type of experience that I expected out of Cyberpunk. This is at least what I felt like they were advertising when they were doing like press junkets and stuff like that. They were like, "You can do anything. Things will pop up on the map." Like now, I feel like I'm actually getting that experience. So this game is just.
I think that was their vision for it, and they had trouble delivering on it exactly the way that we had thought.
I feel like it's pretty much there now, and it feels great. And
I was starting to build out like a Doomslayer build I found on YouTube. This guy did a Doomslayer build, which was really fun. It's very adrenaline based,
like shotgun focused.
Yeah, very shotgun. Some light machine guns if they're at distance, but then you go into guerrilla arms mode and start throwing enemies at each other when you get up. You're just like sprinting. You actually have increased aiming and damage when sprinting and sliding, so that it encourages you to go Doom mode where you're actually moving, non-stop shooting.
That's awesome. That's like the opposite of my build in a way. Like I know a lot of that's under reflex, but most of that's in body and most of that's in cool, and body and cool is what I have the least thrown into right now.
Yeah,
because I'm more.
Which is one thing that I wish they would do, and they still could at some point. I wish there was a really solid a respec of those main skill points, not just the perks. Like I get it.
Yeah, I'm already at that place where like my cool attribute tree has 4 in it, and that's like you unlock the first thing, the first perk.
Yeah,
that's it. So like I prefer to have the body one because that allows you to pry open doors every now and then. And there's something else involved that I need that for. I can't remember. But anyway, the cool. Now I'm realizing, well, I prefer playing stealth. And now that I have the optical camo enabled that allows me to go invisible, I'm like, shit, now I want to re-attribute and I can't because I already spent that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But that just makes me want to play the game all the way through again, as if I have freaking time.
That's what they want, which I don't. Yeah. It's not wrong. It's just a personal preference. I would like a respec.
Right.
Even like give me more than one. I know you get one if you played the game before and you fire it up.
If they notice, I wish they had a thing that was like, "Oh, we saw you. This is the first time you signed in since whenever, for months.
You can respec.
You get one free." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least let you pay for it. Like, all right, I got to pay for it, or I have limited. I don't know.
Right. Something. And this is the only game I think I've put like I'm at 90 hours right now in my playthrough from launch, the corpo playthrough that I had. That's the total accumulative time. And I think, knock on wood, this might be the first game that I ever crossed the 100-hour threshold with. For a narrative experience, like because I've never done that. Like with GTA 5 doesn't count because that's online, and I've only replayed the same campaign over and over. That's like 20-30 hours. And you know what I mean? Like Rock Band 4 doesn't count. Like you can't count these other games. That Minecraft doesn't count. So like
Rocket League doesn't count.
Yeah. So like I'm just talking about one.
I play the campaign in Rocket League every year.
The Rocket League campaign,
but I'm talking one playthrough.
That is your campaign to make people rage quit with the things you say. That's a good campaign.
I had a couple other things, and I just loved. I love Phantom Liberty, so I love Phantom Liberty so much. And it's damn man, we're gonna have to invent a category just for this game. At the end of the year,
redemption category.
The most overrated game of the year. Got it.
No, the one that's actually better than, but like if Far Cry were great. So
it's that me, dude. Colin looks so like
he was so mad.
He's so mad in that picture.
Like,
I did go back and beat after we last recorded Cocoon, and I see what Tim's talking about with the final shot of the game, where it's like, well, hold on a minute, dude. What does that mean?
Yeah, what are you saying?
Yeah. This developer, at least these creators, have a way with their narratives of like not tying it up in a nice bow. You have to kind of sit on it and figure it out. It's weird. It's
felt like
weird,
some weird art piece I would see at a modern art museum where there's whatever the imagery that they use.
Derek's kind of game. It's perfect game for Derek.
Derek's kind of game. Yeah.
The only other thing I'm watching is The Pacific on now it's on Netflix.
It's on HBO, Netflix, yeah. And they had a Band of Brothers too.
Yeah, Warner Brothers sold like licensing fees or something for a bunch of their originals, and that included those old miniseries. Pacific's not that old, but Band of Brothers for sure.
I saw that Saving Private Ryan always been on Netflix. I just saw that show up there recently.
It's been there and not there,
on and off.
Not yeah. It's one of those type of movies. It's a great companion piece, obviously, to Band of Brothers, especially. But yeah, Pacific, like I remember it being not because I remember when it aired. I had HBO when it aired. I watched half of it then. I don't remember much of the plot. I just remember the actors that were in it. I was like, oh, that's like when James Badge Dale shows up in a thing. I'm like, that's a Pacific guy, and Rami Malek, Pacific guy.
Malek, yeah.
So I remember the actors.
And
John
believe it or
Bernthal.
not, even in this show, he does a lot of long, wide-eyed stares. That's what he does.
Yeah. Oh no way. Rami Malek, the guy who does that thing.
That's his thing. That's his thing. Yeah.
It's just like.
Dude, I want to rewatch Mr. Robot like once in a while. Like I get that itch for that. Like
I do too. That's
so good.
That show is just brilliant. The Pacific though is like different war, dude. Like I mean, same war but not. You know, like it's just everybody was getting their ass
wonderfully shot. Like it looks great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that nobody learned their lesson because Vietnam was like shortly after that. Well, a couple decades after that. Yeah. And it's like, guys, we got our asses kicked in the jungle. Can we not do this again?
Yeah, don't do it.
The only reason we stopped fighting was because of the damn bombs.
Right.
It's a brutal show. Absolutely brutal. In the first episode alone, you're like kind of, much like the soldiers, you're just shocked at some of the stuff that the Japanese soldiers are doing.
Changes.
Like I still prefer Band of Brothers just because I think that part that theater of the war was much more interesting. I
agree. It also feels like America kicked more ass, or at least the Allied powers kicked more ass over there.
That's got to be part of it. Yeah, I think about it, but also like just the setting of where those battles were happening. I don't know if I know more about it. I don't know what it is. There's something about it I just like more. Generally speaking, about World War II.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. And also, I didn't know they opened the show with this 15 minutes in, where the guy's explaining not only did Japan attack Pearl Harbor, but it also attacked these few countries at the same time. And I was like, why did nobody explain this to me in school?
Because the only one that matters is America. America land is the only one that matters.
Of course, America.
Like
you say America.
No, they
literally the same thing as Germany. Like literally the same thing.
They were just brutally annihilating little islands, little countries. Yeah. It was not good.
So hostile.
Oh, I meant to add this in real quick. Rewatched The Dark Knight Rises. Son, because he hadn't seen that third. Watched the first two, and
the fire rises.
It's still a great. Like I really love that whole trilogy. It's my best, my personal favorite like Batman arc. I love it. That being said, the third one certainly has moments that I'm like, I wonder if Christopher Nolan was just like, that's fine, just leave it. Let's just keep moving on to the next thing. Like, I felt like there were moments compared to his other movies that feel like every little detail is taken care of with such care. And there was elements of Dark Knight Rises that almost felt like, I wonder if he was just done and moved on. Like, the two examples that
turn all the sound effects volumes up, and we don't even have to write a script.
Yeah,
nobody knows what the hell you're saying.
Literally Bane.
It really doesn't matter.
Well, they literally didn't know what Bane was saying. They had to go back and redo it.
The final confrontation when Batman's returned to the city and him and Bane and everyone's fighting around them for some reason. No one's touching either of them. I get it. That's a classic movie moment. That's nothing wrong with that. They're facing off.
Stop
and
you.
Bane asks him a question like, basically, what are you doing here? And he said, did you come back to die with your city? He goes, no, I came back to stop you. And they start punching. And I was like, all right. Like,
it was Nolan's just like, just think after this, we go to Interstellar. It'll be great. Like,
it's going to be fine. It's just that moment when you're pulled out of it because of a line being so inconsistent, because the movie is very thoughtful in so much of its dialogue. And then all of a sudden it's just not for some reason. And then there's the death scene of a certain female character that is so bad.
Kyle and I just talked about that on Current Cinema.
Oh, did you?
Okay. Yeah, I think it was in the Oppenheimer episode. We were talking about how Nolan sometimes leaves takes in there. He didn't do this actually he did do this in Oppenheimer like a couple times. There were some awkward moments with some actors. I can't remember them right now, but he leaves this take in there that you're like, why did you say okay to, like,
that was her death where she says her last line. It looked like a Princess Bride moment. It was like
like her tongue almost falls out of her mouth in a comical
That's the only thing that's missing is her
almost falls out of her mouth.
And even the actor is like, Marion Cotillard was like,
she's a great actress.
We did like 7 takes of that, and that's the one they chose.
It's bad.
Even the actor's like, I act better than that. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's bad. That being said, overall great movie. I feel like when it comes to actors and actresses who are disliked in the industry, for some reason, I remember Anne Hathaway being like disliked by so many people for whatever reason. I remember her being high on the dislike list, but she's such a good actress and she does a good job in this role too. Like she's good, but something about her annoys a lot of people. I don't know.
Well, she's been
there's a reason that
she's a bitch, right? People say she's a bitch.
Yeah, maybe I haven't heard that.
Well, it's because she's an alpha female, and all alpha females are hated. That's what they say.
Sure,
but it's really she's just a bitch. That's all it is.
I haven't heard.
I thought it was more of like the
public
public dislikes her, like for some reason.
Yeah, and if you watch her in interviews, I just don't.
It seems nice.
If anything, she might come off
just
dumb. I don't know.
Somebody hears, some gossip about her.
We're all judging people we don't know, and you either have a likable personality or you don't. And to me, I don't. I guess I'm being disagreeable here. I don't think she has a likable personality at all.
Oh,
she comes across like what's that girl Knocked Up or whatever that everybody hates?
Oh yeah.
She blames it on like she's just a strong woman and she's misunderstood. She's really nice, and I'm like, no, you're just not you're not likable. Like you come across as very like arrogant.
Yeah, but I've also heard about her behind the scenes that she's very
that's the thing.
That's
Catherine
when
Hagel
she came out and said she's very nice.
For me, has been more blatantly ungrateful. And Anne Hathaway, like publicly, she was talking about how Grey's Anatomy didn't do anything for her, blah 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 blah, and like Knocked Up and all that stuff. Shit talking about Knocked Up, and I'm like, man, you are just so ungrateful. And Anne Hathaway, I hadn't heard anything like that. If anything, I've only heard.
I don't think Anne's ever done that.
I don't think. At least not.
It's
gone
more
that
just
far.
a perception of her that maybe it's fair, but I feel like
acting wise, I thought she was great as Catwoman. At least
she was great in that role, and she's great in lots of other stuff too. But anyway,
all that to say, Interstellar, yeah.
Yes, and all that to say, I think overall the casting of Dark Knight Rises was great. Overall plot was a step back from The Dark Knight, of course. But it was still interesting. It wasn't horrible. There's plenty of moments though when you rewatch something, when you know it's coming, you're like, oh yeah, they could have stopped all this right here. This is kind of.
Is it actually true that the Joker was going to be in the third one, but because
he was.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Sure. So that probably also threw a wrench into everything.
I also just think, in my opinion, and I don't throw this around a lot, the Dark Knight is like a masterpiece. Like I can watch that movie over and over and not be like, well, they should have done this better, or that's really cheesy. This didn't age well. I'm like, this is perfection. How do you and don't get me wrong.
How do you follow up? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
if
though
those movies were swapped, if Dark
really
Knight Rises had been the second movie, we probably would like it a lot more. I think we would. We'd be like, hey, each one improved, because I think Dark Knight Rises is probably I enjoy it more than Batman
Joker is
Begins.
the most iconic villain.
Right.
So for him to be in the middle and not the ending, you already lost.
Tom Hardy is he did a great job. His voice, like the voice, listen, we were watching it on Blu-ray, and my son was having mixed reactions to it. He was like, his voice sounds really weird, but I'm like, it's captivating. There's something about the way he's talking that's like, it's captivating, even though it's strange. It's almost like a joke.
That's most of his characters to me.
But he's kind of strange, but he's captivating.
Have you seen the trailer for his new one? Even like the new movie that's coming out where he's in a motorcycle gang with the guy who played Elvis whatever.
Yeah.
His accent in that, I'm like, what do you do? This is the latest Tom Hardy accent filmography, I guess. This is like, what accent is that? Nobody else is doing that accent in the trailer. It's just
like even in Lawless, which is not an amazing movie, but it's not a bad movie either.
I actually love that movie. Full stop.
I do like it. But it's another example of like, what's he doing?
What are you doing?
But I like it, and I can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
What are you doing exactly?
He's
doing?
He's likable.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Venom, where you're like, you're in San Francisco. I'm so what are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't. Are you a New Yorker or not? Or what?
Are you a New Yorker?
Yeah. Chicago? What is that? I don't.
By the way, one of his best performances is him just driving in a car for the hour and a half long movie.
Dude, Locke?
On the phone.
Locke?
Yeah,
Locke. That movie's amazing. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
I had to have 5 people pitch that movie to me and sell me on it before I was like, fine, because that sounds so unappealing.
It's very sad and heartbreaking, but it's such a good. It's literally him on the phone for the whole movie as he's driving.
It's like 2014 movie. There was no COVID, nothing. They just did it because they just did it. They just wanted to do it.
It's like phone booth.
Yeah, except good.
Yeah, like good. Yeah. A good version of that. Yeah.
I know I re-interrupted with my extra thing.
I was going to say about Nolan doing Dark Knight Rises. I think he was always under an obligation with Warner Brothers that if they wanted to option sequels, he said, "Okay, I'll do sequels, but in between each one, I get to do my own movie," which led to Inception. And then Dark Knight Rises, and then Interstellar. So he had that agreement with them. Like, I get to do one for me, one for you, while I do the Batman movies. So definitely the third one was forced because the Warner Brothers wanted one, and he was like, okay,
sure.
By the way, the opening of that movie is one of the best introductions to a villain. It's super exciting. Like the shots they get of the plane as it drops away.
Legit.
Like,
it's legit too. Yeah.
Wonderfully shot and acted. Yeah. Loved that whole opening sequence a lot. Really, really good. But yeah. All right. Derek, what about you? Anything else you're playing, watching, you want to highlight?
Nothing really like watching, but I will just mention, since I wasn't on the podcast last week, I finished Tears of the Kingdom.
Nice.
Tim had been talking about it a lot recently, and honestly, I really didn't know if I was going to finish it. I always had a desire, but when I clocked out at 60 hours, like before I beat it, obviously, I was like, I don't know if I really want to go back to this. There's so many other games, and there's a lot of energy you have to put into Tears of the Kingdom, or at least that was my mindset. And then I went back and I started playing it, because I thought I don't have enough hearts. That means I'm gonna have to go look for a bunch of like puzzles and stuff like that. It just didn't sound intriguing. But when I jumped back in, I absolutely fell madly in love with the game again. I actually moved it up higher on my game of the year list. I also gave it a higher review score. I didn't give it a perfect 10 at first. So it's a really, really good game. So I finally finished that. I love it. It really is a masterpiece. And then I also finished 2 other games. I beat Lies of P again, New Game Plus. Way faster, way easier. Not just because of the patch, but just where everything is. Like, I had just played it back to back, so I was like, I know where you are, I know where you're gonna jump out, I know your weaknesses. So I was able to kill almost every boss first try. And then the other game that I really, really liked, well, it's DLC, was Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways.
Nice.
I need to do that.
I never played it.
Same.
I never did
release.
either.
So this was a new experience, and first of all, I'm really into Asian chicks now. Aiden.
God damn it.
That's all.
I mean, Aiden Wong's, she's attractive.
I was trying to upskirt her, and the game was blocking me. So damn you, Japanese people, for blocking me. She's really hot, but the
just download some mods and get it over with.
I am. But I was playing it.
Never mind.
And I didn't think I was gonna like it gameplay as much, because I was like, I don't want to. This is supposed to be like a horror game, and I don't want to. The thought of flying around everywhere didn't sound fun to me. But they used
more like action game.
Well, yeah, it's way more action than Resident Evil 4 with Leon, even though there's a lot of action with Leon. But there are some really creepy moments with her. But also, I just felt like John Wick at some points. I actually thought it was pretty cool. Maybe it does this with Leon and I never noticed, but I was using the pistol basically the whole time. I maxed it out. and I was always walking forward and popping the zombies. And as I was walking forward, the closer she would get, she would turn the pistol. It looked exactly like John Wick. She turned
it sideways.
She would do the boop, boop, and she would be shooting real fast. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really feel like I'm John Wick right now. So those 3 games, really, really good. As far as what I'm currently playing right now, well, on the podcast, I'm playing Immortals. I only play it when I'm on the podcast.
Sure.
Okay. By the way, Suni Legend, that awesome game player who puts up fighting clips, they put up a clip of Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways, and it just looks so smooth. It makes it look so good. Anyway.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And then I jumped into Cyberpunk. I'm going to do the DLC. I was going to do another game playthrough, but I'm just going to jump into the DLC and just do that. I think that's going to be my main. Even though I really should finish Starfield, I'm just not feeling it like you guys. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. It won't be high on my game of the year list.
It's got too much No Man's Sky for it to be a Derek game, I think.
Yeah, well, it's not really that. It's all the other stuff. I just don't really like the combat that much.
Okay.
I don't like the characters as much as you guys. I think the Crimson Red and stuff, that stuff's fun.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think there's cool stuff there. And I do plan on beating it at some point. Maybe this year, maybe not. I don't know. You never know.
You need to just mainline to the end, because I do think you will appreciate the final elements of the story and how they launch in a new game plus. That doesn't mean you're gonna have, even if it's outside your top 10. That doesn't matter. Yeah. I just think you'll be like, hey, that was a cool way they did that.
I probably will. I'm 25 hours in, so, and I know I'm over halfway through the main story, so I probably
strong
will.
enough to finish the last few encounters. Yeah.
But I really, here's the thing. I really want to play Cyberpunk, or Phantom Liberty, because it isn't just Jeff and Kyle saying it's really good. I'm in other groups, and the amount of posts that I've seen being like, this game is freaking amazing. I didn't even like it at launch. 2.0 is awesome. Phantom Liberty is some of the best DLC. I'm like, dude, where is this? Like, I liked the game at launch. I've talked about it. But I never expected this reaction for this DLC. So I think I'm really intrigued in that. So that's going to be my next game on the hit list. And then just real quick, again, I'm not doing anything show, but like a lot of cool music's been coming out. And like Red released their new album, which was, at first I didn't really like it, but as I've listened to it more and more, it's really, really good. In fact, while we were on the show, aside from playing Immortals, I bought a ticket to go see them live November 17th. So I'll be going to check them out. Also, Blink-182 dropped a new track that I really, really like.
What year is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. Not Linkin Park, but what's his
Mike
face?
Shinoda.
Mike Shinoda dropped a new track. Bunch of stuff. Oh, Stain was the other one. Stain, I was really surprised. I like Stain, but I've never been like a hardcore Stain fan. They've always had great songs, and I've always listened to their albums, or back when they released, I had to buy their albums, and I would buy them. It's been a while.
Wow.
So I didn't know if I would really like them, because a lot of times when a band hasn't been together for like 10 years and they come back, they honestly usually suck.
Except for Creed, they're good every time. Keep going.
Well, yeah. Dan.
Tim.
Dan.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
I just love that guy posted that randomly. He's like, Creed gets too much hate. They're really good. I'm like, yeah, they are, bro.
All right, bro.
Yeah, they are.
Bro.
But anyways, the album's really good. The entire album from beginning to end. And that's even great. Their older stuff, I would usually like 4 to 5 songs, but the rest were average to crap. This entire album's really good. Some of it's pretty darn heavy. And then obviously they have their little softer stuff that's a little more catchy.
Gotta have a ballad.
It does have one ballad, but it's not like ballady. Like,
hey, so is he not sad anymore?
Hey guys, what's the track number for in your mind on an album? What's the track number that's usually the ballad? It's gotta be number 7, right? Isn't 7 usually the ballad?
It's late, the second half of the album,
6 or
right?
7. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's usually where the ballad hits. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one would be 4, and then I think the other kind of softer one would be 8. So
they spread it out.
Anyways, just a lot of good music, which is great because I'm always looking for new music or good music to listen to, and I was just caught off guard by all these guys dropping albums and then them actually being good.
I've got some Game Boy soundtracks for you to listen to.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up with Dan. Any quick hits that you've got?
There's some good remixes. I mean, like that one that I shared with in the group chat there that Jeff would recognize more so because we're the only two I think that's finished the game. I love when they do like metal renditions of some of those, especially like the ones that are more retro-y sounding. Those are pretty sick.
Oh, I'm playing Sea of Stars too. I forgot to say that.
Oh,
yeah, nice. There you go.
Yeah,
he's playing all the games.
Just a couple hours.
Well, I always do that. Like after I complete a game, I jump into all the ones that are on my hit list, and then whatever hooks me, I end up like.
No, I get it. Throw it up against the wall and see what sticks. I like that.
Well, speaking of lists, you know what's off the list? Finally, Xenogears.
Congratulations on literally what year is this?
Yeah, it took me like 13 years to finish that. I mean, that game is like it's not a short game. But like the issue is like for me, like I basically stream at the most like 3 days a week, or 3 times a week, and like maximum 5, maybe 6 hours. So
those are pretty long sessions though. I didn't realize you went that long.
Yeah, during the week, it usually leaning towards 4, and then on the weekend I can go a little longer, so like 5, 5.5, maybe 6.
Yeah, you can.
I was gonna say your wife must really like you on the weekend.
So many hours.
5, 6 hours, baby.
Dude, so it hurts. It's raw. It's red.
Oh, good Lord.
Wow.
Anyways, there's a lot of dialogue in that game, like an obscene amount of dialogue. So I kept saying during the streams, I'm like, this feels like if Kojima decided to make an RPG. Like that's kind of the energy that game has. Like there's just a lot of dialogue.
You're saying that, I think I would literally kill myself.
Yeah, you would not like.
You're like, I love story and emotions. Talk to me, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Seriously,
it's so much dialogue, and it's a very like just out there wild game. Like it's just the story is very like. The whole, so now that I've experienced the game, and I'll try not to be, in case anybody that listens to our show does like retro games and never played Xenogears, like basically what ended up happening was the game's not really actually fully finished. Like the first disc is like really like meaty and like everything is kind of like expanded on and like story moments unravel and you're witnessing everything. But once you get to the second disc, it like they had to truncate everything because I guess there was just some kind of stuff happening behind the scenes with Square.
They had to get that game out, I think.
They had to get the game out. So like you basically have moments where your main characters are like just sitting in a chair, the background is black, and then there's just like an image kind of like floating behind them, and they're just like reading the kind of, it's almost like story time. I kept saying like, well, story time, guys. And like you're not actually having these cutscenes.
Oh, that's got to be weird to stream.
Yeah, well, it was fine because honestly, at that point, I was like, well, we got to get things going. So like, it was kind of like going a little quicker because they had to truncate everything. So I was actually moving quicker through it because the second disc is much shorter. So
it's a bold one to stream because there's so much dialogue and you're reading it all out loud for people who are watching your stream, as opposed to being able to quick skim and go to the next line if you're playing by yourself.
I would literally, I'd be like, guys, I killed myself. I'm done.
Oh my god!
But honestly, that has to like triple the time you would normally spend in a game.
Right. Because when I replayed 7 on stream, I did OG 7 a few months ago. Like I think it took me 2 months, so like half the time because I'm also way more familiar with that game.
Of course.
This was the first time me playing this, but I don't know. I see why there are the people who love this game, like really love this game, and I do see why. I think there's definitely a lot of highs in the game, and I do look forward to playing it in the future, just by myself and absorbing everything better. But yeah, there's definitely like the camera is super annoying. I don't like the camera. The game doesn't have a map in the corner, like a traditional map where you're seeing your little blip and then you're seeing where it's a compass. It's just a freaking compass. It's like, cool. That doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form.
It's old school games, man. Yeah.
But like, I mean, like the Final Fantasies would have a little map on the,
That's
know
true,
what I mean?
they would.
So there was just an odd choice for them to do that. Some dungeons had a map. So cool, thanks for that. But yeah, just the no inclusion of the map is weird. And then again,
there's a reason that game is mentioned by a lot of people as like, oh yeah, I like that game, but no one ever. Okay, I shouldn't say no one ever. Most people would never mention that as their favorite RPG or PS1 game.
I got a lot of people coming into the stream saying that.
It's their favorite of all time.
Yeah, either like first or second. Yeah, a lot of first. Like this is my favorite video game.
It does feel like a try-hard take, to be honest with you, because the only reason I say that is not because it's a bad game. There are so many games that hit all the same notes that game does, story-wise, gameplay-wise, visual-wise, and do it better. So it's interesting. Hey, nostalgia is powerful. That's all. Nostalgia is powerful.
Could have been their first JRPG or
first
whatever.
JRPG. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I just think it's more complex. So I love Final Fantasy, and I'm not going to say by any means I like this more than any of the Final Fantasies, especially 7. I think it's more complex than most of the Final Fantasies.
Yeah. But it's tackling issues that most games never touch.
So. Yeah, like that game is rated T. I don't know how they got by with a rated T in that game. Like that game is definitely, in my opinion, it should have been rated M.
Because whoever rated it literally was like, dude, I am not reading I'm not listening to all this crap.
Shout out to the translation. Those translating games back then were tough, but this game must have been a lot. But yeah, it's I think it's worth, if you've never played it and you are into RPGs and you like the idea of going back to play retro RPGs, give it a try. It's absolutely worth trying. But yeah, it definitely has its flaws for sure. And go in understanding that the second disc is, again, it has that whole thing where they had to truncate it because of, just corporate.
I don't know. If you're gonna go back and play an old RPG, go play Suikoden, because you probably haven't played that.
You could play that too. Yeah, definitely play that too.
Or Xenoblade Chronicles, which I've been asking you to do for about a gazillion.
What's that game, Derek? I've never heard of that one. What's that one?
I gotta do Xenosaga first. I gotta replay that trilogy.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, cool.
See you in 5 years.
Can we literally?
I played those when those came out. Those are awesome. I liked those.
Lengthy as well. Speaking of,
I'll get to Blade eventually. Maybe in 30 years, I'll get to Blade.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dan, what are you playing now though on stream? You just started up a new one.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what, Tim? I'm sorry. I meant to say right when I came in. Thank you for popping in yesterday. That was actually really nice. Playing some Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion. So
hey, it's Luigi. How you doing?
I play the Luigi. I'm losing my friends and my brother. So.
Hey, it's really scary in here.
One of the more like charming / at times underappreciated. I won't say underrated because it gets high ratings, but underappreciated Nintendo game. It's always high quality and so charming. Like just a good time.
There's just like a lot of like little details, like just the physics of like having the vacuum and like tugging on a curtain, the way that like looks realistic, and just like the Luigi saying little things like when little moments happen and just kind of stuff interacting in the background. It's got that Nintendo charm that you would expect from something like that, and it's a smaller, more focused experience. It's not like Mario where you're running a 3D Mario game where you're running around this whole area, so they can really focus on those little details. It's a really fun game. So
if you guys don't already, make sure you go check out Dapper_Chocobo on Twitch. What's your normal schedule? Are you normally on Friday nights?
Yeah, it's either I'll do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like if I'm not gonna record here, but
so go check them out on Twitch. It's always a good time. If you didn't, and maybe that'll happen again. Let's just say that Dan got into character for his Luigi Mansion playthrough, and it was fun. It was fun.
I did. I got real Italian for everybody.
Well, could you do Eliza P one? Because I'd like to see you get into character.
I'm not showing you my P. I'm not showing you my P. So I'm not showing my P.
I want you to do a WWE one where the chair's just empty because you're playing as John Cena.
Sure. Somehow the controller is like
the controller's right there.
You could figure out a way to do that, and like the "You Can't See Me" shirt or whatever, and like the hat.
That'd be so good. Yeah. That'd be really good.
Just all in your chair.
Okay. Oh, something happened to the call. What happened?
Oh, Skype is trying to cancel us.
Skype. I think they heard Derek say he's into Asian women now. They didn't like that. We're gonna.
It was a delayed reaction.
It was like, hey.
Hey now.
We are too. Don't say it. All right, we're gonna.
Ada Shalong.
God damn it.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Wieners.